Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
It is time for the crossover. It is brought to you by
Smiling.
It's okay. Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha. Everlow Concrete.
Beautiful day. Why would I not smile?
You know what?
I'm about to watch.
It's
Big
a beautiful
Ten
day.
Jeez, Con.
Softball. What is it?
Softball.
80? Yeah, 80.
Hey, how's that softball team I asked to be on, and you said that I could
We
be on
haven't
it?
played yet. We've had 3 weeks and 3
Literally
rainouts. We are
the first
Bang,
week I ever worked here.
bang.
Literally, one of the first things I said is, I would actually like to play for your softball team. And I
if
just
we
have
haven't
never-
needed a sub, we haven't played yet. We haven't played yet.
All right, man.
We are playing theoretically, unless a flash thunderstorm comes up for the first time tonight. I think we're the only day, because they go in days or whatever. We play on Thursdays.
Oh, you play on days? Wow, that's
Just
crazy.
Thursday every week.
Yeah.
Everybody else has their own day.
And you play on Thursday.
And we play on Thursday, and every Thursday so far it's rained.
Omaha?
Yeah, 120th and Fort.
Okay.
Kelly Fields, baby.
Never played in Omaha.
Yeah, it's the mean streets.
Is there still the guy that hangs out there that is always looking to be the plus one? You need one.
You bet.
Oh,
You bet.
that is awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite dudes.
He called into one of my first years here. He called into the show because Damon used to be a big softball player
Yeah.
before he retired, and he said there was always a guy, the same guy at Kelly, would hang out. Wasn't on a team, but he'd always be like,
Oh, and he gets 4 games in every night.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
He's just playing for the love of the game.
We had a guy in the south side of Chicago. We had a guy called Albie. Albie was that guy for the Oak Lawn Pavilion 12-inch softball league.
It's
Where
awesome.
it's just Albie would be there and he'd be hanging out. And Albie was a good pitcher.
You're gonna be our Albie. If we need a guy, I'll call you.
I will actually pick up and play.
Seriously, if we need a sub, I'll call.
I'll
text you.
No, I'm in. I mean, I haven't swung a bat in quite a while, but I do hit
Can't
a
be-
tennis ball off the wall and field some grounders, for practice. Got to make sure you have the alligator.
You do?
No, hell no.
All right.
Absolutely
Okay.
not.
All right.
It is funny though that you thought for a
I
second
don't
that's
know.
something
I don't know
would
what you
actually
do. I don't know what you do.
Wow.
I don't know what
What do
you
you think I do when I go home?
I don't know.
Great.
What's
question.
this is an interesting crossover topic.
What does Matt McMaster do? Because here's the thing. I will be in the fall. I fully plan on being more involved in doing extra outside of this stuff. Like you do, like
Sure.
Gary does, like everyone else here does, right? But for right now, we're in this weird limbo stage of
Yeah, I don't.
I haven't been able to really capitalize on that.
I would think you probably go maybe make some lunch when you get home. You make a sandwich.
So I meal prep on Sundays. I meal prep on Sundays. So I go home and I take a couple scoops.
Microwave.
Yeah, microwave. I
All
eat
right.
that. You're on a good path here.
All right.
I eat when I get home, correct?
Do you go? How long is it before you go back outside of the apartment?
Well, I would say most times I don't go straight to the apartment.
Okay, so you go to the Warhorse first. Cool.
Yeah, sometimes that's the first location.
All right.
Other times there's a place right across from the Warhorse.
Milts.
You go hit balls at Milt's?
I go hit today. I'm gonna go and hit balls at Mills.
Milt's Country Club?
No, not a country club.
Are you sure?
Yeah. And
Have
then
you
I will.
Have you not played it?
I have played it.
It's
I have played it.
beautiful. They were thinking about playing the U.S. Open there once.
It was great. I went through and
1900s.
with wooden clubs. Yeah. So I went ahead and the guy was like, "Oh, you can play ahead of us," and I was like, "All right, cool." And I just shanked 2 balls into the woods right in front of these
And
guys.
then you quit?
It was one of the more embarrassing moments in my life, considering it was a par 3.
Tough times.
I am
Tough
amazed
times.
that Milts, they have stood strong and they have not sold that piece of land.
I know. Because they could get a lot for it.
They also have the great, at the driving range, it's an old Bronco that picks up the balls.
Yes, that's awesome.
How much do you think the casinos offered them for that space?
Millions.
They said
Because
no.
you could expand. It's for parking.
It's like, no, thank you.
I'll
We're
tell you something
charging
right now.
$8
Because you
a
have to,
night.
if you go to Warhorse, they still have, where they have the racetrack set up.
Yeah.
They still on the other side have parking.
Right.
Now they run a shuttle. I saw.
They do
When I
run a
was
shuttle.
across the street playing golf.
That
they
guy,
run a
and let me
shuttle.
tell you something right now. I would not want to be
You know
that
the shuttle driver at Warhorse?
I don't know him. No,
1-800.
but no,
Yeah.
I do not know
We got a
the
pamphlet.
shuttle driver.
Pamphlet time.
No, stop. I already have the pamphlet. The pamphlet's in my.
All right, we
my
got a
backpack.
spare one. You need it.
That shuttle. I've never seen anyone step out of that shuttle. I've never seen anybody. That shuttle is always going. It is always moving. It almost every time I go there, I see it. I've never seen one human take a step out of that shuttle.
It's like the orbit bus,
So, point of comparison,
streetcar.
the orbit bus.
there is a well-known driving range in this town. Maybe it's near where Connor plays softball.
Schmidley.
I never said
Yes.
Schmidley's. Don't put it on the internet. I said Schmidley's.
love Schmidley.
We all do.
Yes.
There's a lot of rapid expansion in that
There
corner of
is,
the
Josh.
world.
Boondockers is dead. They paved paradise and put up a parking
Put
lot.
up a Starbucks,
Are they
which is
really
now
gone?
open.
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
The Starbucks just opened there
It's
on
gone.
Monday.
Yeah.
Is this a big deal?
Boondockers, yes.
A historic Omaha
Is it?
dive
Yes.
bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
True dive bar.
I've only
Yeah.
been to one Boondockers in my life, and that was a bar. So I assume this was a bar.
It was a
The
bar.
owner
Yeah.
of Schmidley's has turned down 7 figures.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a
Lord.
big space.
Yeah.
Right across from Keystone, where you get all the kids coming
Yeah.
in, and you all the new. They let the Tranquility soccer fields go up. Have you driven by over there lately, Josh?
Every day of my life, I drive by there.
What's up with that? They used to be beautiful, beautiful soccer fields for the children to play on, and now it's.
Oh, do they need to be mowed?
That was the
It's-
original home of Creighton soccer.
Well, they still have that field is back there is turfed, I
Yeah.
think. But the rest of them, it's like, there's nothing going on over
Hmm.
there. I don't know.
Well, they have the big project. That
Yeah,
is
now they have
supposed
the
to-
big project that's coming up. I mean, yeah, Schmidley's is going to stay and hold on for dear life as long as Schmidley's can.
So
It's a beautiful thing. You talk to people at Schmidley's, Schmidley's.
That's right.
So I go home after Milts and Warhorse, and I take a nap, and then I work out, and then around this time it's 4:00, and I begin prep for the show,
Okay.
and then that's my day.
And that's the rest of your day?
That's the rest of my day, and then I'll go to bed at 12 a.m.
Wow.
and then wake up at 4.
Wow. You wake up at 4? What time do you get here?
I get here in a wide ranging times. Like the earliest I've been here was I got here at 5:20 on Tuesday. Today I was the latest I've been all week, and that was 5:45.
Better
So-
than some hosts of the morning show, past, present,
That's correct.
future. I don't know.
I get here at 6:04.
I know.
Yeah, I get here when I first started work, like 6 months ago, like I was 5:15 on the dot every time,
That's crazy.
and then it kind of now it's like it depends on. Honestly, it depends
don't
on
know,
when
man.
I open up like the Omaha World Herald, how many articles there are and how many of them I have to read. And
I like that you say open up like you have a
You
physical.
have a paper?
no, like when I go on my phone and I open up the app and
Oh,
then I go ahead and I start reading.
All right.
I do miss
So-
the physical paper. They
See,
used to.
I was-
We used to. When
I
the-
do too.
we used to get
Yeah.
the paper here.
I used to look. Actually, there's some pictures that came up in our 25th anniversary thing of Kevin holding a newspaper as he was doing the show, and I
Yeah.
was like, "What is going on?" It's so odd. But today I was on Omaha.com
Yes.
and I saw a slideshow of pictures of Ed Service through the years, and I looked at that. I clicked on that one. Did
Oh,
you
wow.
click on that one?
I did not click on that one.
Ah,
There
you
wasn't-
should have.
There wasn't anything that might have been after. When was it published?
I don't know, but you should have seen. I mean, Ed Service in 2003 looks just like Ed Service in 2025.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
So it's like the anti-presidency type job. Like you actually age better when you're the Creighton baseball head coach.
Or maybe it's just Ed. I don't know.
Ed's
Maybe it
always,
is.
Ed has
Yeah.
always had the same look, the same way he wears his hat,
Mhm.
his uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Number 9.
His hair, man. He's got some good hair.
There was one during COVID where he let his hair go a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was a little.
I'm letting
odd.
my hair go right now. I'm not cutting it until the day before Cincinnati game
Oh, whoa! All right.
What?
because I'm losing hair.
Oh.
And I'm like, you know what? This might be the last hurrah. Like this might be the last moment I
Mhm.
get to have the luscious locks. So I'm gonna grow it out until the day before the Cincinnati game, and then I will get a haircut.
Matt writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, Matt.
I take banking personally.
Went to Boondockers a couple times, and they had COVID in 1984, and
He
about
did.
10 cougars smoking outside. It was a scene, man.
Mhm.
Hey, they love their NASCAR. Sundays in there.
Okay.
They had NASCAR on all the television.
A friend of mine proposed to his wife at Boondockers.
Okay.
Imagine
Wow.
telling people that.
Was there a,
Imagine
like was there a
imagine doing
backstory?
that.
They just really like Boondockers.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're very normal people. You know,
Yeah.
you know this person.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah, you
Okay.
know this person.
Yeah, I like Warhorse. It doesn't mean that I'm going to propose there.
Hey
I
man,
mean,
it's special. It's special. It's different. And now look at it. There's nothing there.
A Starbucks.
The Starbucks,
That
kind
is-
of. Yeah, it's like kind of up the road.
Gary, you're disappointed.
Because I don't
Frequent.
I don't go over that way very much because a person that used to go over there a lot doesn't live there anymore. But that was like a staple. That is like a
Mhm.
dive.
Yeah.
Like
And they
They're
would
gonna
have the marquee where they would predict a Husker game.
Yes.
Yep.
And
but it's a Starbucks.
And they're going to put a
Like,
hotel there too.
nobody
I
said
don't know
yeah,
how.
yeah, a hotel for all the youth
Holy crap.
Oh.
Is this
baseball and
Wrigley?
soccer.
Now
this
that makes
Wrigley?
sense.
But yeah, they're
They're
like I said,
Wriglifying it.
Pave Paradise, put up a parking lot and a Starbucks.
Man,
It's
There's
all
a-
over.
well,
But we still have Kelly Fields on Thursday nights, I guess.
we love our Starbucks. They opened a Starbucks by me on 84th at drive-through, busy all the time.
Well, I mean, it's a Starbucks that, like right now, you got nothing going on.
Yeah.
But once the hotels and the baseball fields start coming in, watch
Smart
out.
play.
That Starbucks is going to be unreal.
Smart play.
Who calls me at this hour? Shouldn't they know?
Does your mom not know you're on the air?
I said potential spam. They should know though.
See, when
Is
you're,
it-
when
is
you're
it-
an Apple customer, it takes care of you.
It is. It is kind of
Well,
nice.
hold on.
that
My
way.
droid tells me potential spam.
Oh, I bet it
Colin.
doesn't. I bet it doesn't say likely spam.
What if it's another fruit
But,
basket?
but you know what it is? Oh, I know what it is. Because what's happening Tuesday?
Is there an
Okay.
election of some sort?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you're
Yeah.
getting all the robocalls.
Vote for me.
what is the election?
I got
Mayoral.
I mean, when Don Klein shows up on your phone, you're like, oh, what did I do?
Oh God, the district attorney is calling me.
Is it going to ask me to switch
Oh.
parties and then switch parties again?
I have seen Don Klein interviews so many times. How many times do you think you've seen Don Klein interviewed on the local news over the years?
All the time.
No.
And he's super comfortable.
Anytime any crime has happened ever,
Exactly.
we talk to Don Klein.
We have to go talk to Don Klein,
Yeah.
and he talks about it.
He's the Harvey Dent of this town.
He's cleaning up the street.
He is. And you go to a Creighton game and you might see him sitting there.
You-
Season ticket holder.
You never know. You never know who you might see.
Great guy.
Yeah, no, I've just seen him so many times. I feel like he's a part of my life.
In a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I haven't actually met him in person. I just watch him talk about other people's crimes on the television for like 30 seconds at a time.
You think Terry Wagner's like that for people in Lincoln?
Terry Wagner.
He's the sheriff.
Sheriff.
He's the sheriff.
He's been there forever.
All right.
Forever. Great guy.
Probably.
Probably.
Probably. But I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, he hacked up his entire family. That's not good, guys.
Good
Good point, Don.
Hey, going to school in Lincoln in the 90s, I got to know like the prosecutors and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, because the Nebraska football players were in trouble. And so like Gary Lacey, I had no idea who Gary Lacey was. I felt like, past 1996, I knew intimately who Gary Lacey was.
The wolf.
It was the
cleaner?
Lancaster County attorney.
Trying to think who the Lincoln figure that I saw the most was.
Well, mine was Peter Francis Geraci.
Who's that?
That was the guy for Chicago growing up. Was Peter Francis Geraci. And then there was
Okay.
another guy who's like, call someone's got something for you. Call 222-2222.
Oh, he's like Saul Goodman.
yeah.
Okay.
And then there's another guy who's the Verdoliak Law Group. It's 1-800-6-million. It's 6000000.
That's awesome.
And the best part is that they had Javi Baez early on in his Cubs career do those commercials where he couldn't really speak English. So it was just Javi Baez. Like people thought he didn't want to say all the zeros. So he just goes 1-800-6-million. And then like that's how you get the Verdoliak.
Hey, check this out. We got a tweet here from Curtis.
Hi, Curtis.
I think it was Verdoliak with 6 million.
So, you're wondering what's going on top of Boondockers, I'm sure. There's a Starbucks already there, but they are clearing out space for Nebraska's first chicken and pickle. Do you know what chicken and pickle is?
I think it's a lot of chickens and a lot of pickles.
It's pickle ball, to be more
no,
specific.
No,
Yes.
no,
And chicken.
no.
They're all across the country.
There's
55
one in Kansas
acres.
City.
There is one in Kansas
Yeah.
City. I've been there. Yeah. 55 acres, 120th and Fort, Northwest Omaha. Chicken and Pickle plans to break ground on the 55-acre multi-level Omaha property last year. We'll see how that goes. Opening to the public in 2025. That doesn't seem likely at this point, but I wonder if the plan is still to do the chicken and pickle. Because I don't think there's nothing vertically going up there, Josh. It's blank still, right?
Right.
Yeah, I was just by there the other day. And I didn't notice anything.
I moved to the middle of the country to get away from pickleball. I mean, it's just now it's.
Whoa, you moved to
now
the wrong place,
Yeah,
buddy.
Pickleball
following
is
me.
huge in this town.
Is it? There's a lot of. Every time I see somebody, they're like, "Yeah, you notice anything?" Like any middle-aged person, you notice I've lost weight. I play pickleball 3 times a week now. I get a good sweat.
Yeah, it's like speed walking, but people do it competitively.
I know it's Chicago.
We have some really talented pickleballers in this
It's
town.
on like after bowling is done on FS1, then there's like national pickleball.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go, chicken and pickle, maybe. But this press release came out in August of 2023, which notably is almost 2 years ago now, and
Notably.
there is nothing going in that spot at the moment. So I don't know if this has been delayed. Josh, get in the horn with somebody. Call Don Klein. See what's going on.
All right. I gotta see. Do I have Don's phone number?
So that whole Tranquility Park area,
Yeah.
which what is it going to be called? Tranquility Park Commons. There's going to be
Mhm.
restaurants, retail, hotels.
Oh my
the fields.
God.
On 120th.
Yeah.
Are they going to do anything with the intersection by Mulhall's and Tranquility Park, right there off of Maple? Because that's always under construction, and that's a mess.
It's done.
Yeah, it's done. It's good.
Like
It's
I hesitate to say it's over, but
big.
I believe it's over.
It's a big intersection now.
Yeah, it's over.
Because we have a traffic problem in this town.
We do. I mean, Maple
Mhm.
especially is one of America's worst streets.
Yeah.
People for whatever reason feel the need to travel at
Mhm.
10 to 15 miles an hour below the speed limit on a highway. It's a highway.
It is.
Highway 64.
120th to 180th.
I'm a Dodge man.
One of the worst
So-
stretches.
Yeah.
Right there.
Dodge. I mean, seriously, it's the way to go.
I'm just on Dodge.
I took
live on Dodge.
a couple
Good man.
last weekend. I took Blondo from my house to this area of town, the
Mhm.
Dundee area, and I was about halfway through the drive. I was probably about 90th, almost to 72nd, and I was like, what the hell did I do? Why did I do this? I'm driving around the road like it's a cobblestone. There's stoplights every 10 seconds. There's cars who are driving 4 miles per hour, pulled over on the sides of the roads, blocking everything,
So
and things like that. It is a nightmare to drive.
I went the wrong way. I should have gotten off on like Dodge, 30th and Dodge area, right? And I didn't. Okay. So I kept going south on the highway. And so the next place that
You're on 480.
I'm on 480. Going south. The next stop you can get off at is Martha Street. Okay. So I get off at Martha Street and I see the street that will pop me out to my apartment. Okay. So I'm like, so after I get off Martha, I take a right, and then I take a right on that street.
Mhm.
Park. Okay. So I'm on Park and I'm behind this car driven by an old lady
That's right.
who the speed limit on Park in that area is 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's a parkway.
She is going 15 miles an hour.
St. Mary's
because
almost. Yeah.
because she has rolled down her window and there's someone in her passenger seat and she's like showing this person the area. Like this is where I grew up and this is what I would do here and this is what I would do here. She's going 15 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone. And I can't honk
I believe you.
because she's an old woman and I don't want to be rude. And it was frustrating. I just live on Dodge though. I'm getting to the point though where I don't use the GPS anymore.
Good job.
I kind of want to get lost. Like my goal is to get lost in a way,
Well,
so I can find my way back.
nice.
Because I need to.
Well, when you come play softball with us, you'll probably need the GPS to get there, and
I will probably use your GPS. But when you told me how to get to Warren Buffett's house for the first time, I
Yeah.
go, okay, no GPS.
Uh-huh.
Couldn't find it.
Well, you didn't find it because it's
No one was there.
nondescript.
But then I was like, all right, here's where I'm at. How do I get to Milt's? Okay.
nice. This
so
is
then
a good
then I
test.
used my intuition and I go, oh, 60th. Bang.
Good job.
I
Good
know.
job, Matt.
I'm learning.
Excellent
I'm learning,
job.
man. I'm being a grown up.
We got a text from Pedro.
Pedro.
Hi guys, Connor, tell Matt the grand opening of Warhorse is tonight. Maybe he could win the Cadillac.
I don't know if I don't
I
know.
didn't see it.
I don't know.
2025 Cadillac.
Yeah. Well, I do have an entry in the drawing. But
Of course.
I mean,
Sure.
well, when you swipe your Warhorse card and
You're
then,
automatically
you go
entered?
to promotions
I understand.
just to see what promos you have, it goes.
Do you wear it around your neck? Like, so when you slide into a machine, you
Great question.
No. But if you were to look around my apartment, I think you would find like 7 Warhorse cards.
the
that
players'
have-
cards.
Yeah, that have had to have been reprinted. Now, I'll tell you this right now. I went to the Kentucky Derby event. I went to a Kentucky Derby event at the Omaha Children's Hospital. It was very nice. But before I went to the event, you have to wear a suit, right? You got to look pretty nice for that. So I went to Warhorse.
What are you doing?
What?
I mean, what do you do? What do you mean an event?
I went to an Omaha Children's Museum Kentucky Derby event
Why?
because I was invited and I'm trying to
Okay.
network.
Invited by who?
One of the people here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how these things come up. How do you find yourself at these things?
Because I tell people that I want to go to them.
good job.
And I
Why's
want
the
to.
Children's Museum having a horse
I don't.
racing
It's a great
event?
question. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, it was an incredible fundraiser where they raised like $250,000
Okay,
of dollars.
that's awesome.
Like
We
it
love
was
that. We
it
love
was a
that.
live auction that I had no funds to live bid at, but it was the chicken piccata was great. So,
Usually is.
had a very good time. And I networked with some people. I'm supposed to go to a baseball game with a guy who runs a museum over here from this event. Regardless, anyway, had to dress up for it. Went to Warhorse dressed up in my Kentucky Derby suit. And there were people who thought I was a pit boss, who thought I worked there because I was one of the only few people in a suit there. And at one point I was walking with one of the people who actually worked there, and a guy bowed his was like, "What's up, guys?" And then I looked at him and I would go, he thinks like we're coworkers, and he thought that was really fun.
Awesome. Fantastic.
But you'll always have the chicken piccata.
Got the chicken piccata.
Chicken piccata.
Becoming more popular at events in Omaha. Is that your go-to?
I don't know what it is for me, and no offense to our local casinos. I can't stop going to Council Bluffs. Every time I go
Loyalty.
to the casino, I'm like, well, I guess
The
it's time to
habit's
go
been
across
built.
the river. Yeah, they hit me. They got me too late. They got me too late. I'm already established.
It actually is closer and more convenient for me to go to across the river.
Right.
But
It's not for me.
if I'm
but
being,
I still
if I'm
do.
being honest with you, what's holding me on? to-
72nd Street?
Yeah.
The bridge?
No. What's
The pain in the butt?
what's holding on to me right now to going locally is Milt's. Milt's is holding on to my loyalty for Warhorse because I like to hit
Well,
balls.
Harris has a course right
Yeah.
next to it, right?
I have no.
I
Oh,
think they
it
have a
does have a
driving
course
range.
right next to it. I just
Yeah.
went to Harris for the first time not too long ago.
Or you could go all the
I
way
went by
out,
Stir Cove.
or you could go all the way out and play or visit our friends at Bent Tree.
Oh, is that a nice course?
Lovely,
Great course.
lovely course.
Yeah. How much?
It's a little
expensive?
scratch, yeah.
Yeah. I gotta
It's
find.
worth it.
It's worth it though.
My friends are coming impromptu this weekend. I didn't know they were coming until yesterday.
Take them
So-
to get bent.
Well, I need to find like an affordable course, after the Kentucky Derby races. So, we gotta-
You got Elmwood Park.
Yeah, we do. We do have Elmwood.
I
We
might
got
just
Eagle
take 'em to
Run.
I might take them to Shoreline again.
We can take them to Shoreline.
I had a great time. at Shoreline.
Shoreline works.
Schweiger.
There you go.
Hey, do not knock that.
Johnny
That's a
Goodman.
nice little 9-hole par
Yeah.
3. Walk
Benson?
it.
Very easy.
Oh
Yep.
man, I love
Also,
Benson
The
National.
people that live in the houses that surround that golf course, you never know what you're going to see or
Never know.
hear.
Yep.
And then when you go, should we get a cart? And the person, the 16-year-old behind the counter is like, no.
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 I don't know. I think we might need. You don't.
Last time I played there, they were gone. We got done, they were gone.
They're just like park your cart
Yeah,
and you can leave.
And they got the kid had like, hey, I'll throw. He goes, hey, cart for $5 extra, and we're like, yeah, what the hell?
That's golf.
Like,
That's
what do we do with
in
the
the
cart?
spirit of the honor system. You just leave it there, and hopefully they'll find it when they come back.
I'll tell you this right now. When you go to Milt's, there's always like these 4 older guys who are drinking like Busch Lights, who already golfed the course or already, hit the range or whatever. Convinced they're keeping that place alive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
Always be
a
there.
stretch of America. You can go to Ralston Kino. Or
Ah.
Ralston Kino.
Yeah, Ralston Kino.
And then, stop by Winchester's, have a burger, and then go down, hit some balls, and then you can go gamble.
Where's this?
Beautiful
Where's
thing.
this?
It's all right there in
It's
the same
all
area.
right there on the same street, basically. You got to cross 72nd to go to the Kino.
You go to Funplex.
Yeah, you can go to Funplex. That
72nd Q, dude.
is Q Street like?
Is it back?
Is Americana?
Can I get an address? Can you guys give me an address?
You
Because I
drive right
we'll,
by.
We'll drop some pins for you.
I don't know where this is at. I don't know my butt
So-
from my elbow.
You know where Warhorse is?
I do.
Okay.
I'm right there.
Do you? How do you get there?
How do I get
You
there?
enter
So
off
I go down 50th. Take a right on.
So you go in the back way.
Yeah, Saddle Creek.
So you don't
Center
ever
or something
see
like
the
that.
places we just mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta hit it from the north.
I hit it from the 60th.
Yeah, hit it from the north once and see what happens.
Is Q Street our Vegas?
There's a lot going on down there.
Yeah.
Well, I went to Dumpling Empire after I won a nice little chunk of change
Hello.
at Warhorse. That was great. Had
There
some
we go.
dumplings.
If you want to go play softball, you can go play softball at Seymour Smith. It's right there.
So I got to go from 70. I got to take the long way now around to go ahead.
Just if you want to see some things.
Because he said Keno.
Well, you
and
go to
then
Seymour Smith and you look at the guys playing disc golf. You'll see some things.
Uh-huh.
Or at the shooting range.
You'll hear the guns going off in the background.
Maybe you
It's
get to-
all good.
You'll maybe get to see a train.
That would be the most dangerous thing for my bank account. Going to a golf course, then a bar with Keno, then the casino.
It's all right there.
That
That would
seemed
be.
be like your Gordie Howe hot trick.
No, I think would have a more creative Gordie Howe hat trick. That would be losing a sport bet, losing at the blackjack table, and then losing at the slots.
All
Gordie
right,
Howe
so-
hat trick.
Any day that ends in Y.
No, not these days.
Paul Pierce is not on this particular show. Did you see he is walking?
He is fulfilling his
Is he actually doing
obligation.
it?
Yes.
He's pulling the Jack Mitchell.
Yes.
He's walking to work.
Look at
In
Schrager.
his robe.
ESPN Schrager. It's so weird.
Shrigs.
I don't get it.
Great hire.
Yeah, really good hire, but he just doesn't fit at ESPN. You know?
Why? Why? Because he's actually smart. and
Yes.
he's like, okay.
Yes. Yes, he's good.
Like he's actually good at his
Yeah,
job.
he like he knows what's going on and he like cares and he studies and things like
But
that.
he's got that Orlovsky puppy dog energy where he's like,
Yeah. It's a really good
it has a bad
personality.
connotation, but it's like he's just happy to be there.
Really good
I
personality.
can't wait to work at ESPN then. I fit it, man.
You got the takes.
I got him. I got him.
You got the takes.
I'm made for that company.
All right.
Is that scoreless there? In,
No,
North
1-1.
Oh, it was 1-0. Penn
Jordy,
State.
yeah, Jordy Ball gave up a run in the first.
Ooh.
Plunked somebody.
Shohei Obali gave up a run. Oh, did you catch that? No. All right, yeah, it's 1-1. Nebraska's cooking in the bottom of the first. Big Ten softball tournament. Stay tuned for updates
We got it.
throughout the show.
As long as Jordy's pitching
All right.
and hitting.
See you guys later.
Have a great show.
Thank you. Thank you. I will. That's Crossover, powered by Every Level Concrete Repair in Omaha at everylevelconcrete.com. It is Thursday. We'll start things off next.
That's the Crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone.
A few clouds this morning give way to mostly sunny skies this afternoon. Warm with the high of 78 degrees in Omaha and a bit breezy later on in the day with northeasterly gusts possible up to 15 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear and mild with a low of 49. Sunshine back to end the work week with a high for Friday into the lower 80s. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KATV Newswatch 7.
Hey there, I'm Tyler Bebout with Modern Real Estate. So when we come to your house for a consultation, we will give you a cash offer guaranteed up to $2 million. And then we also give you suggestions on repairs, remodels, or additions on what the future profit might be as you go to market. So when you're ready to go to market, we have different packages on how you can actually save thousands more on commission, depending on how you want to do marketing, how we want to pay buyers agents and things like that with the new rules that came out with the National Association of Realtors. Call and text at 402-450-5970, or you can go to myearnedequity.com.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Thursday, everybody. It's the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Beautiful day. Happy summer.
Summer.
I got shorts on, and they ain't going back in the drawer anytime soon, baby.
I'm wearing shorts for months.
Yeah, but you're one of those guys. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You're one of those guys. I
understand what you mean by that.
If it was 58 in January, you'd be like, shorts. I'm like, 58's still not that warm.
But I'm so comfortable.
I got you pegged. It's okay. Look at this. I'm looking at the forecast. It says 78, 80, 85, 84, 82, 85, 87, 80, 79, and there's not a cloud on the forecast. Look at it. Sun. And now people will text in the show and they'll say, Happer, you big dumb idiot. I can't believe you use Apple iPhone weather. And I'll say, look, it tells me what I want to hear. Or at least it's telling me that right now. So thank you, Apple iPhone weather app. And welcome to summer, everybody. Some would say that the snow is done. And I would definitely say that at this point. It is May 8th, and it's almost time for postseason baseball. And it's definitely time for postseason softball, where the Nebraska softballing Cornhuskers have taken a 5-1 lead on Penn State.
5-1. It was 3-1
in the bottom of the first. Bottom of the first inning. The Creighton softballing Blue Jays are taking on St. John's today at 11 o'clock in the Big East softball tournament. And the Omaha softballing Mavericks are also playing today, I think, earlier in the day as well.
Yeah, they're the team that was, in the tournament last year.
Yeah, and they damn near won a regional.
That's right,
folks.
People forget.
Pretty good. Also, last night, on top of Jason Tatum once again turning into a pumpkin. What?
No, that's very accurate.
Okay.
What you're saying there.
The Royals won again. They keep scoring very few runs, but they keep winning. It's very alarming to me. Last night was the 8th time this year that the Royals won a game despite scoring no more than 3 runs.
That's very little margin for error.
They have currently more wins of that type in this season, 8, as they did in all of the 2023 season, in which they lost 100 games.
Oh,
but yeah, it is May 8th. I'll repeat that here on the show. Today, coming up, we'll talk to Jacob Padilla. We'll get his baseball takes. Basketball, I'm sure, as well.
Almost nailed the Bobby Witt Jr. hit streak ending.
That's right. He was like, what, 1 day off?
Yeah.
Sad. That doesn't count, though.
He's a ball knower.
Jacob will join us at the top of the hour, and Sam McKewon will join us today at 1. Sam couldn't join us on Monday, and he said, is there any other day that would be good? And I said, you know what? How about Thursday? Because our dear friend, world traveling Michael Brunts, is doing exactly that. So we can't guarantee you breaking news, but we will give you good takes from Sam McKewon at 1 o'clock.
Maybe a new pope.
Maybe, but it's not Brunts. So we'd have to probably wait another week for Brunts to come back. That's the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We'd love to hear from you all today on the show, 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. You can call or text that number, 402-951-1620. Tweet at Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor, Josh O at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. Hello, everybody. Where Teresa says, grunt the weather. That we did. An impromptu grunt the weather. And it was all, That's what I'm talking about.
Not a depressed sigh in the bunch.
No, it's feeling good right now. An RDJ fan writes in, roll Jays, go baseball.
Many are saying.
Wait till this weekend. We're saying roll Jays, go baseball even more. I'm so fired. I've been thinking, it's really been the only thing on my mind since late Tuesday night, Josh. I can't wait till this weekend. I'm ready to call some big time baseball games. I'm ready to go.
How you going to do that in the Big East, Connor?
Well, it's
a crap conference.
It is. I can't argue with that. But
he admitted it.
But these two teams in particular happen to be good. And not good, but pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay.
And you only play the schedule that you're given. And it's Grady weekend, and it's senior weekend, and it's Ed Service's last home weekend. There's just a lot going on. And I'm pretty fired up. And I would encourage you to join us at the ballpark this weekend.
You're going to want to be there.
6 o'clock on Friday, 6 o'clock on Saturday, noon on Sunday. Let's go.
1180 The Zone if you can.
Yep. We'll be there. Or if you are at the ballpark and you still want to listen, just camp out in the bathroom. We'll be there too.
But don't be weird about it.
but don't be weird about it. Black Cat wonder. I gotta send an email. Did you get those tickets to give? No, I haven't yet. I forgot entirely about that yesterday. I should send an email immediately. Black Cat is always here to remind us of things. We should hire Black.
He's got a good memory.
Things that we say that just for me come out of my mouth and then they're just gone, dust in the wind after that. Black Cat remembers those things.
People don't forget.
Yeah, we gotta remember stuff a little bit better. On this show. No, but we'll effort that. But welcome to the show, everybody. Today, when we come back here in a couple minutes, we'll tell Josh that he could watch the town as many times as he wants, but nothing will make his basketball team unmiss those 75 3-pointers over the last 2 games.
You're all just missing the plot on this series.
I can't wait to hear the plot. Can't wait to hear the plot. Today, we cancel courts. That's right. The American justice system is broken, and I am here to fix it.
It wasn't broken before this.
Nope.
Okay.
Now it's time to talk about it.
Okay.
The straw that broke the camel's back, Josh.
Interesting.
Courts. Nebraska is apparently going to a bowl game.
Hell yeah.
Next year, but which one? There are bowl projections out, Josh. There are lists.
How?
It's May. That's how.
Okay.
What does Matt Rule know? We'll check in with his Instagram story. Andy Staples and Ari Wasserman ranked their top 10 jobs in the country. #lists. And a very surprising and interesting development out of the SEC where you'll never believe it. ESPN is apparently open to paying the SEC more money if they add a 9th conference game. It's very weird. I never saw that coming.
I'm open to accepting apologies from the rubes in the audience who's called us idiots for suggesting this.
I know. We have to deal with the information that what we have right now. No, they're going to go to 9 games. Also, Charles adds in.
Hi, Charles.
Pope Watch. Yeah, we'll be on Pope Watch.
If there's a new Pope, we'll tell you what we know.
If they break in to any of the maybe we should just turn it over to ABC just to be ready.
Yeah.
Because God knows what they're talking about. Stephen A. They're talking about on First Take right now. Stephen A. is appearing on Law and Order tonight.
He's going to be a corpse.
He will be a dead person.
Yes.
Yes. He has appeared on other television shows.
General Hospital.
I saw a clip recently where he shot a nurse.
What? Oh, that's a felony.
Well, maybe he did it out of good.
Out of good?
But I don't know. Maybe the nurse was bad. Maybe the nurse was trying to murder a patient or something.
I think
like
it's
that.
still a felony.
Well, it probably is, but
they
maybe
have those signs up all over the place.
Murder
Assaulting
is
a
bad.
healthcare worker is a felony.
Yeah. Well, I think this is probably rises above assault. So I turned it to ABC. The View is on, and guess what? Joe and Jill Biden are on there.
Oh.
So that'll be a fun watch on silent today.
Okay.
Yep. Maybe we'll check out the closed caption. I don't know what's going on. One more thing before we take a break here and drink Josh's tears.
What tears? Who's tearing?
You love your Celtics. You love your Celtics, and you're mad. You're very sad. You can't believe that they're bing-bonging all over your heart.
Imagine celebrating when the job is half over. Seems weird. Seems like maybe you've never been there before.
Nebraska offensive line transfer,
Whoa,
Grant
careful, Connor.
Segrin. Yeah. He received no favors of any kind at any point. At least not from me. Nebraska offensive line transfer Grant Segrin has signed with Oklahoma State. I think a great move for just to remember this going forward. Like if there's any college football players out there who are listening, if you find yourself third or fourth on the depth chart or something like that after spring, transfer. You should automatically transfer.
Just go, man.
Especially if you play the following positions: offensive tackle or defensive line, because you will immediately get at least a handful of Power 5 offers. And you will probably make a lot of money, and you will probably be a starter at a Power 5, like a power school the next season. You should do that. And Grant Segrin, shout out to that guy.
I'm going to go protect Zane Flores.
He understood that there was some demand. There was some demand, and he could supply it. And that's what he did. So congratulations to Grant. All right, we'll be back after this. Appreciate you being with us today on a Thursday here on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, analysis, and commentary in a clean, concise, and disease-free way.
See there?
What a relief. Thank God.
Wonderful. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
When it comes to concrete repair, EverLevel has some serious game. Coach Greg McDermott here to coach you on why you should choose EverLevel Concrete Repair. They've got the fundamentals to fix your cracked and uneven concrete, and their products will give you the best defense against future damage. It's a fraction of the price compared to replacement, and their solutions come with a long-term transferable warranty. Working with EverLevel is a slam dunk. Call EverLevel Concrete Repair today for your free inspection.
Josh and I have taken quite the interest in The View today. They've taken another commercial break. Okay,
so I'm guessing, because it's the last 15 minutes of the show, I'm going to guess they have the Bidens on today. And regardless of your political leanings,
it's interesting.
They clearly went long in the earlier segments and are trying to catch up.
They just had probably less than a 3-minute segment.
Yeah.
And we were like, what is she talking about? And we turned on closed caption immediately. Still really unclear what they're talking about, what the conversation is about. But we do know
probably nothing.
Former President B did not say one single word during the segment. And there's 40 people at the table watch it as a part of The View.
Hey, it's like his campaign for president.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting, Josh. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And if they break in, if David Muir breaks in, I'm David Muir.
That's why we're on.
At this hour right now, there is no smoke coming out of the Sistine Chapel.
We had one no vote earlier.
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
So there was more black smoke?
There was more black smoke this morning.
God.
Cardinals are raw dogging it, according to ABC News.
Yeah, I saw that one. And then I saw a video of Kornacki. Have you seen this, Josh?
No, what do they got him
They
doing?
got Kornacki. They got Kornacki.
2/3. It's 2/3 Kornacki. You don't have to do a map for it.
But then there was some history to it, and he was telling the watchers of the video, the history of how many votes it's gone and things like that. I'll always watch it because he just talks so fast, and you feel like you have to keep up. Listening to Kornacki is like listening to an Aaron Sorkin written television episode.
Great comp.
And I'm like, I can't be uninterested in this. I am interested in this. So yeah, anyway. Charles writes in.
Hi, Charles.
So Kamala Harris is about to walk on set and tell President B to leave.
That would have been funny.
Also, Tommy writes in, keep an eye on The View for me, boys. I got you.
We're doing it so you don't have to.
All right. Bing bong, Josh.
Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong.
Are you?
Bing bong.
I need you to get personally offended by this. Are you personally offended yet?
Personally offended by what?
By your basketball team playing like dump garbage. You love the Celtics with all your heart.
They had 2 20-point leads.
Yeah.
You saying they couldn't possibly do that again?
I'm telling you that they lost both of those games. There were so many people who were like, well, that was an obvious outlier game 1. Boston shot 63s and they only made 15 of them. That's not going to happen again. And still the Knicks only won by, 3 in overtime. And because of that, there was this, I think they were 10.5. I think Boston was 10.5 or 11-point favorites going into game 2. And everybody was just like, absolutely, you got to hammer Boston here. There's no doubt. And here we were, 91-90, as Jason Tatum has they give Jason Tatum the basketball and he goes the length of a floor and, he's blocked by 2 different people at the same time.
Because he tried to do the exact same thing he did 9 seconds earlier.
He ran it was like the football equivalent of just running straight up the middle with no plan whatsoever.
Right. Well, it worked last time we had the ball.
Yeah. Got blocked immediately by 2 different people, and the Knicks bing bonged their way to a 91-90 game 2 win. The Boston Celtics through 2 games, Josh, have shot 25 of 100. 100 3-pointers
in 2
games.
All right, I can't pretend like that's not a lot and that's not bad.
100 3-pointers.
And it's very bad.
That is a lot of 3-pointers, Josh.
I would recommend
shooting
less.
I would say this. It would still be a lot as the View has returned with the 40 people at the desk. I would still argue that it's a lot if they would have made 30 3-pointers, if they would have made 35 3-pointers in 2 games. Maybe
it would have been enough to win the 2 games.
Maybe the results would be different, but I would still say, oh my God, they shot 100 threes in 2 games and 60 in 1. And it's a playoff game. And now Did you see some of the reporting yesterday, Josh, about
there have been rumblings throughout the course of the
yes.
season about these things.
Oh, yes.
Decisions to make in Boston.
Shams Charania, he reported, what was it, yesterday before the game, or maybe after, in the off day in between, that, there's just some conversation around the league right now about how the Celtics are going to probably make a move over the summer and they're going to break this core up and stuff like that. And usually if that reporting is happening, it is
definitely going to happen.
Yes. Everybody can already feel that in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. I love watching the Celtics implode from the inside out. It's fantastic.
It's incredible that America has rallied around
the
New
Knicks.
York.
Bing bong.
New York.
Go Knicks.
You're all rooting for New York.
That's right. It's the city that has long had has been a huge underdog story. I love all those guys who go on the streets and say the F word after all the games. I love those guys. Those guys are great. At least they don't say slurs, Josh.
Oh, yeah, no one's ever uttered a slur in New York City, the garbage capital of America. The place Nebraska fans, us normal people, are too scared to go because we'll get mugged on the subway.
They just got done with another segment on The View, by the way, and Joe Biden didn't say a word. He just looked confused again.
Well, that's his move.
As we move these two topics together, Kenneth on YouTube says Joe Byron, Bing Bong. That was one of the side talk videos from Coney Island. Joe Byron, they called him. So, get ready. The Knicks are America's team, folks. Boston sucks, or as they would say in the hit HBO television show Winning Time, bleep Boston.
Oh.
Bleep Boston. Bury them.
The savagery. I blame two people for this.
This is great.
I blame Colin Cowherd and I blame Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
For
making
guaranteeing things on the public airwaves that couldn't possibly come true.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't know how, but I believe Colin did this despite me.
You think he had too positive of a Celtics take just to make you?
I'll screw my rival producer Josh. Watch this.
I go along with that. That's pretty good. So if you applied all of the national Boston thinking and you applied it over the Oklahoma City Denver series, you would have been 100% correct. That game was over 10 seconds into the game last night. I've never seen a team fold faster in an NBA playoff game.
I'm sure the New York Knicks, who are known for seeing things through to the end and not choking when the lights are at their brightest, will come through in the twilight at Madison Square Garden on Saturday. Why aren't they playing that game at night?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It's an Eastern Conference game, Josh. You gotta play
it goes first.
Yeah, goes first. Black Cat writes in.
Hi, Black Cat.
Too much St. John's Knicks crossover on my timeline. Can't do it. Celtics in 6.
Thank you, Platt Cat.
Hey, that's 4 games in a row.
That is
4 games. How many threes are they going to shoot in those 4 games? 600?
400.
Yeah.
That's how many games the Celtics beat the Knicks in a row before this playoff series started. 4. Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right. So you're still on it.
I've cared about this team deeply and passionately for
decades.
decades.
Many could note that. Yes, if they're listeners of this show.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jacob Padilla is up on the other side. We'll talk some basketball.
He'll tell you
with him coming up on 1620 The Zone.
only pure for our basketball Jones. Hail Varsities, Jacob Padilla on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone, baby.
All right, let's have a chat with Jacob Padilla of Verdad Sports. Joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Jacob, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Connor. I'm doing well.
All right, so 100 threes in 2 games. You know, the NBA is very different from the college game, but I still think 100 threes is too many. Thoughts?
Yes, too many. Like, they're certainly like, you have to play the way that you play. Like, you can't suddenly start turning down good looks if that's the way you always play. But at the same time, you can't keep doing what's not working in the moment. Like, long term, you think, oh yeah, it'll even out and the revert to the mean and all that stuff. We just got to keep taking the shots. But also, I don't know that they're taking. I mean, if you're a great shooting team and you're in a rut, you got to focus on taking great ones. Maybe try something a little bit different.
Take a little more time, maybe.
Yeah.
What if I told you 3 was more than 2?
Well,
0 is less than 1, 2, or 3.
Another great point. We're full of great points on this show. Yeah, I think that's right. As well. So I don't know. Do you still have any sort of faith in Boston? Like, the thought going on Boston going into last night was, well, they'll be fine. That was kind of an outlier game. Now it's 2-0 and it takes on a little bit of a different light. Like, did the Knicks have enough to win 2 games out of 4?
I definitely think they do. At this point, you can't discount what's happened so far, especially with where it happened. I can't necessarily write Boston off at this point either, because they missed 100 threes in 2 games. Like, they might make 100 in the next 2, and then suddenly we're starting over again.
Right.
So, and again, the team is too talented and well put together to just completely fold. But we'll see. Missoula's had an interesting career.
He really has.
Because the first run just did not go well. Everybody was killing him. Then they go win the title last year, and then now I guess he's struggling again, and didn't really have some answers. There's some strategic things there, like why they had a timeout left on that last possession, and Tatum was going absolutely nowhere.
Correct.
And just kind of let him play it out and try to throw it through 3 guys in a ball game. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, his assert after the first one, we were taking great shots. They were good looks. They just got to go in. Like, that's not necessarily what you want to hear, because they weren't necessarily a bunch of wide open threes. They were hunting the threes more than they were creating them.
Right.
I would say, that's the fine line, because 3 is worth more than 2, and you take a bunch of them, you got a better chance of scoring more points. But it's got to be good process. Like, there's a difference between generating a lot of threes and forcing a lot of threes. And I don't know that Boston has necessarily straddled that line very well so far in this series. And credit to Boston. I mean, they got a lot of guys with long arms that play really hard running around out there.
It's also the playoffs. You're dealing with one game scenario, a bunch of 1 game scenarios.
Yeah. And again, over the course of 7 games, you probably think a team is going to be what they have been more often than not, but also the defense gets more locked in. Everybody's dialed into all your tendencies and everything. You got to have adjustments. When things don't go well, you got to find a way to counter what the other team is doing. Like, that's what the playoffs are all about. It's again, with the singular focus on one opponent, several different times. You figure things out as the series goes, what works, what doesn't. You got to be able to make your counter punches. And Boston has not done that through 2 games so far. And now we'll see if they can do it moving forward.
Okay, so speaking of making adjustments, I think the Thunder did okay in game 2. That was a little bit different. But if you're Denver, you might be okay with going back to Denver 1-1. Let's go back to game 1, though. It's a perfect conversation to have with you because we have another. I think we've talked this out on the show before. The whole foul up 3 or don't foul up 3 or foul up 3 twice with more than 10 seconds left. How do we sort through all of that happened at the end of game 1 from a strategic standpoint? Because I can't understand it.
Yeah, no, they botched that entirely. That's one I think maybe where you just got sucked into the foul. We got to foul up 3. We can't let them get off at 3.
Yep.
And didn't pay enough attention to the other facts on the court besides just the score, namely time and who was on the court. The point
or
of
who was not on the court.
Yeah, exactly. The point of fouling is to prevent them from getting off a look that could tie the game. But if you don't chew up any clock while you're doing it, now you're just turning it into a free throw contest. And if you're going to do that, you better have your guys make their free throws. And obviously, Chet Holmgren did not. So that's the problem when you foul so many times. You start that so early. Is okay. Now the pressure is back on you as well to hit your free throws, just as much as it's on them. And you're essentially giving up the advantage there because you're just going back and forth. And now suddenly, if you miss your free throw, you blink first. Now they've got the chance to go do what they did. So that, yeah, starting at 12 seconds, like that's not how anybody who believes in the foul up 3 strategy. That's not how anybody would tell you that's the way to do it. I personally I hate it as an observer. Like I want my team to be smart about it, and if that's the right play, go for it. But it just as someone sitting there watching the game without a rooting interest, I did find it pretty funny that it backfired so magnificently.
Me too.
Because there's so many people screaming foul up 3, foul up 3. All the smart basketball people on the time. I'm like, why do you care? you shouldn't want them to. Just watch the game, see if they can get a shot off.
Yeah, people like when the analytics stuff works. Yeah.
And the one thing on that, and it makes sense. Well, if you make them go the route of missing intentionally and kicking it out and trying to get a shot off after making the first. There's so many different things that have to go right compared to just playing it out. But at the same time, I'd be fascinated. I don't know if I haven't seen this. If someone's done a study on, and I don't even know how you would, but the success rate of fouling up 3 versus playing out. I think it's probably,
it's got to be close to even, right?
That's what I mean.
It's a wash.
It's unequivocally the right move, and I'm like, it could be. I could see it, but I'd actually like to know the numbers on that before I feel so strongly about it. I am a person that loves and focus on fouls to give and choosing to foul to prevent a team getting a shot off and making them use clock and then having them reset with less time. So that, again, the way they did it just kind of botched all of that strategy. It's just, you're not shooting a 3. And then the second one that we talked about, letting Jokic get on the court. And so quickly too, at least let them cross half court, run some time down, and then foul if you feel like you're going to. Or in that case, again, one of the factors of foul versus not foul is they don't have their best player and their best shot creator on the court. So what kind of 3-point shot do you believe that they're going to be able to generate here against you? Right. Do you not trust your own defense enough to guard a team without the guy that's going to demand the most attention? So Dagnall, I don't. The answers were a little weird. Shout out to Joel Lorenzi for trying to get answers from him. He didn't. I don't know. He I guess the second answer he kind of came back and probably did it too early and all that stuff. But yeah, just curious to see, again, like we talked about, how did they just get lost in the details, lost in like, this is what we do, we have to do it, and kind of weren't really thinking about the time. I don't know how you get to the point where that's where you're fouling immediately with 12 seconds and then 10 seconds or whatever it was.
Jacob, we're watching ABC. I just want to let you know that what's happening. So we're watching ABC just in case they broke in and there was white smoke from the conclave. It's happening. There's a new pope. Oh. Any reaction to the new pope? We don't even know who it is yet, but they know who it is.
New pope, wasn't that like the TV show or something?
The new pope.
It was, I believe Jude Law. Yeah,
new pope or the young pope.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. The young pope.
Young pope.
Yeah. I wonder, is it a young pope?
I don't think probably we had that many options for young popes.
Yeah,
but
probably not.
Yeah, we'll probably find out. Okay, so that's what's going on. So elsewhere this week, got a chance to. I know Matt came on 1620 last week, but talking to him and Al Huss this week on Creighton. The storyline that applies to this year's basketball team and isn't more like, hey, what's this going to look like going forward, is regarding Fedor Zugic and his eligibility. How would you characterize that situation right now? I mean, just listening to Mac, he kind of sounds kind of beaten down by the entire process, which is understandable considering what they had to go through to get him eligible last year. I mean, how significant is that deal? And I think people really wanted to see, Fedor, go on and continue to progress in this program. But where are we at with it right now?
Yeah, I will caveat this with saying, like, the coaches, like you talked to them both publicly and privately, they were pretty pessimistic about it even throughout last year.
Yep, they were.
And getting him. So I think that's probably partially just kind of the way they have to operate, like we saw last year, that we're not planning on him being a part of it. We gotta do everything we can. We got to get everybody else ready to go. Like he's not going to be practicing with the top group. We'll just assume that he's not going to be part of it. So, and that's how we're going to approach it. And Mac pretty much said, like, that's what they did this offseason too, is like, they put this roster together, assuming that he wasn't going to be part of it. And, it was pretty ominous quote. Like, yeah, we're completely out of it now. And it's him and his lawyers and the NCAA. It just doesn't make a lick of sense to me, like how this whole process has worked. I don't know how, like, what happened last year. Like, I don't know how the answer this, you go into this and determine that, oh, he's got half a season of eligibility. Like, that's like, there's just no way that there's any equation that works out to half a
right.
season.
So
he's eligible
right.
or he's not.
You can get him eligible for half of the season last year, and you have, maybe it's a waiver just for the rest of that season. Okay. But now he's played half a season and he's still here. Like, why wouldn't that be applicable to this situation? I'm asking rhetorical questions, but yeah, I guess.
And I know, like, talking to Fedor, like, part of the process last year and the way it played out and why it took so long, all that, is because he didn't want to be one and done. He wanted to get a college career. That's why he came over here, is to play college basketball and to experience it and all that. It's not like he's 25 years old or whatever. He's still in the college age range, especially now considering who these guys are running around college basketball.
Yeah, true.
And I get, like, so last year you had the Visage thing with Illinois, and like what he had to give some money back and whatever, and but like half of Illinois' roster is overseas guys that have played professional basketball over there. And what is the difference between him and, like, last year? Yeah, Fedor's had like 250 professional games logged or whatever. Like, so I get it's a little bit more complicated than some of the guys last year that people were trying to make a direct comparison. But it seems like the further we go, the higher and higher level guys are coming over from, like, I forgot who, but there's like some league MVP from over there, like high level league, to whether it's Illinois or somebody else. I can't remember exactly the player now, but and we haven't heard a single thing about any of these guys not having immediate eligibility and having to go through that whole process. And maybe they will at some point, and that just hasn't been part of the reporting so far. But I don't understand how Fedor is the one guy that has gotten caught up in this, and like I'd be really curious to see kind of what the perspective is from the NCAA. And like I get the slippery slope we're going down. Like you don't want 30-year-old dudes coming over that have been multi-time MVPs in EuroLeague or whatever and signing with.
Sure, it's a weird precedent for sure.
Yeah, just because they haven't played in the NBA to this point, like you don't want to get to that point. And as we're going further and further, we're seeing like these are competitive people with a lot of money on the line. They're getting more and more creative with how they're putting together rosters and what they're willing to try to do. But I mean, it's hard to control that at this point, considering you can't really enforce any rules.
From
what you've been doing forever is illegal.
It's very, very weird. So yeah, and we got an email from Sean who said, "What's going?" So right now, as they go through the process, Fedor Zugic is technically not eligible, but they're trying to get him to that point. And like Jacob said, the quotes have been sort of ominous. From a basketball perspective, Jacob, like I said, a lot of this has kind of been about the future and what it's going to look like and timelines and all that stuff. From a basketball perspective, and the little that we've talked about, this transfer class that they've pulled in and a couple really promising, a promising incoming freshman, a couple of them as well. Like, is there anything to glean from what Mac has said over the last week or two, and even maybe what Huss has brought to the table as well?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like I think somebody asked Mac, like, is kind of the timeline that you're operating on, has that impacted the way you've gone about this in any way, and putting the roster together and maybe heighten the urgency? And he said no, and I'm sure that's correct in that he was going to operate the same way regardless. Like he's always going to try to put together the best team that he can. But I wonder if that's a little different for the people bankrolling the additions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, were they more motivated to pour more money? Because Creighton has continued to elevate its standing and its resources and its ability to operate in the NIL space significantly over the last couple of years. And it is interesting that Matt credited Huss for putting them ahead of the ball or ahead of the game early on. Like when it first came around, he made them made sure they were ready to do what they needed to remain competitive and to push forward. And now you've got him back as things continue to change, and I'm sure they'll rely on him. And his perspective was good. And like, yeah, if you feel like you're comfortable and you know exactly what you're doing and all that, then you're crazy. The name of the game is adaptability now, and being willing to continue to be forward thinking and creative and find new solutions to put out competitive teams. So as for this team specifically, it's like Mac said, they put these together thinking that Fedor wouldn't be there. So it makes more sense why they were so aggressive with a guy like Blake Harper, and another creator, another guy that can play with the ball in his hands and make plays for himself and others. That I think kind of helps round out the team a little bit, because you are a little lighter in the backcourt if Fedor's not part of it. But that also probably eases up the kind of roster crunch in some other areas, and may help allow you to get other guys a chance to prove that they can contribute and be a part of this. So we'll see kind of how they put together. Mac's been pretty good at figuring out the winning strategy, regardless of what he ends up with on the roster. And now you've got Huss back helping him out, and he spoke incredibly highly of Huss's acumen and creativity offensively. And he said basically, like, yeah, he's gonna be running that stuff with Mitch Ballack as his sidekick. Mac talks about last year kind of the way that Mitch was drawing up plays and bringing things to him, and just kind of the track that he was on as a coach. They're excited about kind of, I guess, that group that they have to continue to kind of push this team forward from an offensive standpoint.
Yep, it's a heck of a staff that they've assembled, at least for the time being. Jacob, all right, we'll let you go, and you can You can now step aside and check out all the Pope news that you need to.
Yeah. Before I go, Roll Jays, go baseball. Continuing to put these wins together, and I'm excited for Ed Service to kind of go out the way that he is right now.
Wow.
Especially getting that last one against Nebraska. That was pretty cool. I mean, you haven't talked about it enough, so I felt for whatever reason you seem to be avoiding the topic. So I feel like we needed to get it on the air there, acknowledge what they're doing there.
I assumed that you're going to be gallivanting somewhere around the country this weekend. If not, then we would probably see you at the ballpark, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm down in Kansas City again. But yeah, I'll be with them in spirit.
Okay. Thanks, Jacob. Roll Jays, go baseball.
I guess.
All right, Jacob Padilla of Hurrdat Sports. Honk. He's right. I really don't talk about Creighton enough. I probably should. I probably should talk about him more.
We could work it in a couple extra places.
Yeah,
a couple extra Menchies.
Yeah, we'll get him going. He's right.
Speaking of, they're giving away this jersey on Sunday.
Is it the Ted Williams jersey?
No, that would be a great giveaway. It is an Ed Service jersey.
That's right. With the number 9. You got to be there early to
200.
Yeah, you got to be there early to jump on it though.
And the one in the picture is a medium, so
yeah,
less than 200 are
well,
sizes
they
that
usually
fit
do
me.
Like mediums and XLs.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have to be a medium or an XL. Or if you're a large, you're probably going to have to get the XL. If you're a small, then you're just going to have to get a big medium.
Some of us give them to friends.
Yep. All right. Let's by the way, I think they're in kind of high demand here because I was trying to get some. Well, let's see. Okay, no, we are in the process now of getting these baseball tickets.
Okay, it's a big stadium.
It is.
We could fit two more people.
We just got a company email about, hey, we have tickets for this weekend if anybody in the building wants to go, and they got snapped up instantaneously by somebody. And but we're gonna find a way. We're gonna make it work.
It's called back channels.
Yes, we're back channeling. Where there is a new pope. Did they get David Muir all the way to the Vatican?
Yes.
He was just in the studio last night.
He's our new Anderson Cooper, where he just goes to literally every place news is happening.
He really is. So nobody's out on the balcony yet, but look, there he is. He looks like he has not slept in days.
He probably hasn't.
And the white smoke is billowed from the Sistine Chapel. And here we go. It's Pope time. Get ready to speak.
It's Pope time.
Get ready to speak Pope. 6:22 p.m. at the Vatican. And, 6:23 now. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll see who it is. But I don't know what the process is now. I didn't watch Conclave.
Oh, well, this is when it goes down, okay?
Clearly. We'll take a break. Any Pope updates during Pope time, we'll have them for you. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, back here at 50th and Dodge. We did not send a roving reporter out to the Vatican for this.
We thought about it.
Yeah, maybe next time. But not this time. This Pope Flash.
Well, John is out with the
we're just
wrist.
short-staffed.
Yeah.
We're just short-staffed. I'm looking at a picture right now. You know what? I could put it on the stream here momentarily because it's kind of funny. So the white smoke is coming out of the smokestack at the Sistine Chapel.
Thank you for not calling it the 16 Chapel.
No, thus signifying that we have reached a consensus, a vote. What is it? 60%, right? 65%.
2/3.
Hall of Fame. 2/3. Okay, 66%. And here's the picture that I saw. I'll put it up on YouTube right now.
Oh,
so there's the white smoke, but as you can see, that bird just became the most famous bird in the world. Look at that bird. That bird had no idea that it was photobombing a historical event. I mean, truly historical event. Is that a seagull?
It looks like a seagull.
A pigeon seagull hybrid, something like that. Look at that bird,
I'm
Josh.
just like, ooh, hey.
Roll Jays.
This smoke is warm on my
honk, honk.
Took us.
Honk, honk. Put him up there. Give me some honks.
Honk, honk.
Thank you. That's what that bird was probably saying.
I just wanted to be around history, so I came to the Basilica.
That bird didn't even know, probably. Travis writes in.
Hi, Travis.
What time will Big Pope overreaction be? Listeners need to know when to start drinking before calling into the show. We don't have an official start time. It's like when the Huskers play on like a Thursday or a Friday at 7:00. It's kind of like all day is the pregame show. And then whenever the Pope emerges on that deck that they're staring at, which I don't know what the length of time is that we're looking at here. Whenever the new Pope emerges and opens up those doors and goes out on the deck and waves to everybody, then Big Pope overreaction will begin. Right here on 1620 The Zone.
That's right. We're covering it, just like Adam Schefter is covering it for some reason.
Is he really? Is he tweeting?
Yes.
Amazing.
He tweeted with all the earnestness in the world, all the seriousness.
There has been a new Pope.
Yeah.
Elected. So we haven't had a new Pope since March 13th, 2013. Was 2013 the internet age? I'm trying to think if this is the first Pope in the internet age. I mean, obviously the internet existed, but were we as on the internet? I mean, certainly this is the first and definitely only Pope of the TikTok age. This is the TikTok Pope. Next thing you know, the Pope will be on TikTok trying to, connect.
I would think so. 2013, we were pretty online.
I mean,
right?
if Josh was here, Josh Peterson is just, this is one of his specialties. He's really good at going back on Twitter and like searching things. Like I want to see some of the tweets from 2013 when Pope Francis, when this was him.
Yeah.
And then before that, it was 2005 when Pope Benedict the 16th went in.
Not as instantaneous then, right?
No.
You had to like actually get on the internet to make a joke.
And then
right?
and then before that, it was the 70s.
Whoa. JP2.
Yeah.
Had the thing running long time.
One of the goats.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. I have no idea. He founded World Youth Day in 1984. He was the third
Still
longest.
Running strong.
He was the third longest reigning Pope, Pope John Paul II.
Wow.
Like I said, goat. He was the first Pope of Slavic origin. So
I'm learning a lot.
If you're wondering, what are we looking at? Who's going to emerge from that window and pop out on that deck and start waving to people? Well, the favorite has been Pietro Parolin. He's Italian, I believe. There is some buzz for Luis Antonio Tagle.
Tagle?
Tagle.
Pope Tagle?
Tagle. Yep. Now you come up with a Pope name.
Sure.
Obviously. You know, Pope Francis's name was Jorge Mario Bergoglio. So we'll see what the Pope name is and all of those things. Peter Turkson, Matteo Zuppi, Pier Battista Pizzaballa is a potential dark horse in this conversation.
I need Pizzaballa.
Pope Pizzaballa.
Then you don't have to pick a Pope name. People are just going to call you Pizzaballa.
And this did not take very long.
Third vote, right?
There have been some of these conclaves that have lasted days and days and weeks and months, as Kornacki told me last night on a TikTok that I saw.
Okay.
This one just took a few days.
You know, they'll just run the news. Like, you don't have to, like, get it from TikTok. Like, the news is a show you can watch.
No, but I didn't want to watch the news.
Okay.
I was watching TikToks, and they gave me the news.
Okay.
It was kind of nice. Adam Schefter tweets, "White smoke, a new pope has been selected. He will soon appear at the central window of St. Peter's Basilica."
I don't need Shefty covering the Pope.
I don't either.
I
don't either. But he is he's a big newsbreaker for ABC. I bet ABC told him to break told him to break the news.
I'll bet you're right, actually,
Yeah,
that was an ABC
Schefter,
mandated
do a tweet. You have a lot of reach.
Mm-hmm.
You have 11.5 million followers on Twitter. You are one of our top reach guys in the company. Tweet this immediately. First response, I bet it's Josh Allen.
That's your guy.
It's not Josh Allen.
Okay.
But that'd be cool if it was. Andrew writes in with a little Pope stat.
Hi, Andrew.
Pope stat. Including this conclave, the last 3 conclaves have only lasted a combined 2 days. Or I guess maybe not a combined 2 days, but 2 days each for the last 3 conclaves.
Quick work. I mean, you're sequestered. You don't get to let me just FaceTime my family.
Yeah, they must have a pretty good idea. Look at that bird. They must have a pretty good idea of where they're going. That's why people like the favorite here. That's why people like Pope Parolin, Pope Pietro. So we'll see what happens. Anything in the comments, Josh, that we need to dive into? Black Cat under 4.5 votes. Cashes. You would. And a lot of talk about Pizzaballa.
It's a great name.
His name is Pizzaballa. His last name is Pizzaballa. He won't be Pope Pizzaballa, but that is his God-given name.
Might as well be. Now we're talking about what happens to Haley Steinfeld in the chat if Josh Allen becomes Pope.
Yeah, and people are also talking about what song the Pope will walk out to. I don't think it's like,
it's not WWE.
I don't think it's like Enter Sandman, like Metallica.
Oh, did you see they played it at Virginia Tech
last night? Why do people
gosh.
Why do people care about this?
Because they play it during the Virginia Tech football games.
I know they do that. It's a well-known tradition.
They played it at the stadium, Connor.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I have seen many renditions of Enter Sandman, Josh.
So have I.
I think I've only gotten, how many times have you gotten chills from watching a performance of Enter Sandman? Not a performance, but like listening to Enter Sandman. I got a couple. Definite. There's like been a Virginia Tech game or two where it's like, whoa, this is pretty sweet. Maybe the Nebraska game in 2008.
The time I heard it
Matt
live
O'Hanlon.
in Orlando.
Shout out to Matt O'Hanlon.
Yeah.
Why'd you blow that coverage? I don't know, and I will never forgive you.
Great question.
Mariano Rivera coming into baseball games.
Yep.
Probably
couple of those.
His last All-Star game, Salvador Perez was his catcher. People forget that.
People do forget that.
And I believe it was in New York. It was at Citi Field. So there you go. There's my most memorable performances of Enter Sandman that I've ever seen. Probably wasn't last night though.
No, definitely not. Here's how little that mattered last night. The video of them performing Enter Sandman has not come across my timeline. Just the fact that they performed it.
Oh, you've seen the video. I'm sure the video.
No, the video from last night's concert hasn't hit my timeline.
Really?
Yeah.
It's hit mine. I just haven't watched it.
Oh, no, hasn't hit mine.
It doesn't seem that cool to me.
I get it. Unless
another Enter Sandman has hit Josh's timeline. Lee writes in.
Hi, Lee.
Did you guys just say Pope Petros? Like
Petros
Petro Papadakis?
That's what I've been sitting on that. I'm like, don't I'm not going to mention it.
Petros Papadakis? Was it the running for Pope? No, Pope Petro Parolin. Petro Parolin. That is the thought. But I don't know. I don't know what the timeline is. I'm not sure what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
All I know is there's a band. David Muir is there, and they have a picture-in-picture shot. Half of the screen is the band and the things and the crying people at Vatican City, and then the other half of the screen is a patio that the new pope is going to walk out onto. Patio pope.
Patio pope.
Patio pope.
Surely we've had a Greek pope before. Yes,
I'm sure there is I'm sure there is some word for the deck that the new pope will walk out onto and wave to everybody on, but I don't know. So for right now, it's just the deck for me. Chris writes in, Pope needs the Stone Cold entrance. Now that'd be something.
Chugging beer.
Now that would be something.
Stunning Cardinals.
Yeah, so this is
giving kids the bird.
This is the TikTok Pope. I mean, I think this era in a lot of ways is defined by TikTok. Right?
Now that's the HBO show we should have.
The TikTok Pope.
The TikTok Pope.
It's the Pope of the TikTok era. Remember when it was cool when the president got on Twitter and started tweeting stuff? Now it's not. It's definitely not cool anymore.
That's right.
It's a lot different now, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is the TikTok Pope.
I don't think we've had a Greek Pope before, guys.
Really? Yeah. You think we're about to? Is that what Petro is?
Well,
oh no, he's thinking Petros Papadakis.
Yeah.
Not definitively not Pope.
Right.
He's not going to be Pope. All right, so stay tuned, of course, to the Connor Happer Show. We'll have you covered all afternoon.
Sickos committee also very into the Pope story.
There's a lot of people that are into it, Josh.
As they've just tweeted in all caps.
That raw dogging story, I mean, that really took off.
It really did.
All I saw last night on my timeline was raw dogging.
Let the Vatican band play neck, says Sickos committee.
That would be awesome. I don't know what they were playing, but we do have closed caption on. All right. We'll keep you updated. Coming back. It's time for the odd news on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys?
Do you disregard people's personal space? Sitting next to people in public, even if there are tons of open seats? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. There's still time. Come to Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale and get a queen mattress and adjustable base for just $399.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right. Josh, we got an email here from John.
Hi, John.
In the Equitable Bank inbox. Covering the topics that we covered today on the show so far. NBA, Creighton basketball, and the Pope. Can we test out Big Voice Guys? Kill me now. To make sure it's ready for the College World Series. That's what John said. Some people like it. Some people like it. What would you rather talk about? The SEC obviously going to 9 games.
Nebraska football doing nothing.
Matt Rule knowing something that nobody else knows, apparently.
Okay. That does sound interesting.
These are all going to be topics on the noon hour. Don't worry, we'll get to it. Just like the Caitlin Clark thing.
It's coming.
But first, Josh, the odd news. What do we have?
First, a tweet from Stuart Mandel. Quote,
good. Is he tweeting about the Pope?
He is. Whoever the new Pope is, Mel Kiper will be furious it's not Shadur Sanders.
Okay, not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Probably about as good as you could do in a situation like this.
As good as he could do for being Stuart Mandel.
Wow.
What? He's a huge nerd.
Jadeveon Clowney has been released.
Did Stuart Mandel tweet that too?
No.
Is that Schefter?
It's Jeremy Fowler.
So Schefter is on Pope beat now.
It's called a news dump.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Hey, something big's going on.
Do you think so?
No,
hey, we got to dump.
No.
We got to dump Jadeveon Clowney right now.
If we do it now, no one will know we did it.
No, but nobody actually cares that they did it. Ever. Did you even know what team Jadeveon Clowney was on?
I learned today that he was a Panther until he wasn't a Panther.
All right, what do we got?
We're covering the NBA. Paul Pierce is, I'm going to call him allegedly a man of his word. Allegedly walking 20 miles to work after the Boston Celtics lost Game 2 to the New York Knicks. If the Celtics lose Game 2 at home, I promise you I'm walking here tomorrow, Paul Pierce declared on Wednesday afternoon on FS1's Speak, which is a television show. You got to tell the audience. They might not know these things.
No, you're right. Thank you for saying that.
I'm walking here 15 miles. I'm walking here in my robe, no shoes, bare feet. I'm walking. I'm telling you right now, I'm taking this seriously. I'm going to be up at 3. I guarantee this one. Put the house on this game. Put the house on it. No shot we lose. You got a better chance at walking out of this studio and seeing a dinosaur than seeing the Celtics losing. And it is at that moment yesterday afternoon that I knew the Celtics would lose.
Yep, you got it.
No word on any dinosaurs, but
do we have an update on his walk? He should be walking.
He is walking. There is not a live stream of the walk, just him posting videos every so often.
Is it Instagram?
It is. I've seen them on Twitter. I imagine it's all the social platforms for one Paul Pierce, aka The Truth.
Let me go to IG.
I'm going to guess there's a car slightly out of frame that he hops into every once in a while. And about every 10 minutes records a new video. He is in a bathrobe though. I give him credit for that.
Okay.
So he
considers himself a man. Maybe he's honoring the Pope.
Yes. Many men of faith today will say many things.
Yeah. Let me view Paul Pierce's story here. All right, he had one he's still walking 2 hours ago, wearing a robe.
It was an 8-hour walk. He tweeted the directions.
Still walking 56 minutes ago, and 55 minutes ago. There does appear to be some sweat bleeding through his undershirt and robe. He does appear to be extremely sweaty and out of breath, and it appears to be very sunny. I believe him. Now the problem with the whole walking to work thing is that what he was saying? He was going to walk to work?
Yeah, it was an 8-hour walk.
Work is over by the time you walk there. It's 20 miles.
Yeah.
You're not walking to work.
No.
You're not walking to go to work.
That's why I think there's a car nearby.
There has to be a car to take him back home after work because work is over by the time he gets to work. This is just a great excuse to take a day off and walk.
Well, it's an afternoon show.
Oh, what time is the show start?
I could not tell you. If you held a gun to my head, I would be dead. Because I could not tell you what time FS1's Speak is on the air.
All right, let's check it out. Speak, FS1.
While you're looking that up, I'll tell you that the Pittsburgh Pirates have fired their manager. I'm
Ouch.
sorry, O-Trips.
Ouch. No, I think O-Trips probably pretty happy about this, actually. They stink. 12-26. Wikipedia page doesn't immediately give me the answer, so I don't know.
You got no... I guess I haven't seen it on TV.
I mean,
so I don't know that it's a
television shows that aren't even television shows anymore. They just do clips now. This is the one that Joy Taylor is on, right?
That's right.
Interesting.
Very.
Wonder what she's talking about today.
I have a couple of guesses. I'll keep them to myself.
All right, good. Wonder what Jason Whitlock's saying.
I could probably guess that as well.
Yep.
We go to UK, where Lorna Rook was awarded $40,000 in compensation after being compared to Darth Vader.
Wow.
An analogy that litigators deemed upsetting.
Now, see, Josh, I could really talk about this if I knew anything about anything. Star Wars.
Well, allow me to set the scene for you. Darth Vader is a legendary villain of the Star Wars series, and being aligned with his personality is insulting. Employment judge declared during the employment tribunal, which took place in London. Now, you're going to talk about the courts later. This is an important court case.
Yep.
Litigators deemed it harmful to be compared to the half-machine, half-human Star Wars baddie who was known for force-choking underlings who failed to carry out his orders. Rook did not appreciate the comparisons to the iconic villain. The Office opera broke out in 2021 after Rook, who worked for the National Health Service's blood and transplant sector, was asked to take a Star Wars-themed psychological test as a team-building exercise. The questionnaire had participants answer questions to gauge their level of introversion, level of intuition, whether they operated more on thoughts or feelings, and how they perceived the world around them. You got a Star Wars character as the result of your quiz. There were 16 different options. And Rook did not fill out this quiz because she had to take a personal phone call. So someone took it for her. And they turned out to be Darth Vader. The tribunal agreed that this incident was worthy of giving her $38,729 in compensation.
It's amazing, man. You can sue for anything. Anything.
I don't care for it, Connor.
No, it's not good. Courts. That's why courts are canceled.
That's right. We'll get to that. We go to, I believe this is in Florida. A nurse has been accused of shoving cheesy nachos down the leggings of her wife during a 3 a.m. domestic dispute.
Whoa.
Investigators say that the 40-year-old victim was making nachos with nacho cheese when her spouse told her she shouldn't be eating this late and made a comment about her weight. Don't do that, regardless of your union. During the argument that ensued...
I will say... Don't eat nachos late.
Yeah, that's a bad 3 a.m. snack.
Yeah, but don't compound the issue by calling your wife fat. Not good.
Allison Swan, the aggressor in this scenario, had been playing video games in the living room. Not great thing to be doing at 3 a.m. Walked over to her spouse and grabbed a handful of the cheesy nachos and shoved them down the back of the victim's leggings.
That's awesome.
When the victim...
Wait.
Go ahead.
So the victim is the man, and the man is wearing leggings?
I believe we are dealing with two women here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Josh.
Women can marry women.
I know, Josh. Sorry, I defaulted to man-woman marriage.
That's on you.
It is.
When the victim, who is also a registered nurse, subsequently sought to change her clothes, Swan gave her the fish hook.
Yeah. Yeah. On the mouth?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Get over here. We're not done.
I have more nachos to shove down your pants.
During the confrontation, the victim told police Swan made several comments that she was the one in charge. A friend of the victim called 911 to report hearing the dispute. And when police arrived, the person with nachos in their pants said, "Oh no, she was just drunk and threw a plate of nachos against the wall. That's all that happened."
So this person is not pressing charges.
Police quickly found the plate of nachos fully intact and nachos in her pants when they realized, hey, you're not telling us the truth. Is everything okay?
Wow.
That's when she was kind of forced to tell the police
intact
the truth.
in her pants?
Well, I'm sorry. She said, hey, police, she didn't shove nachos down my pants. She threw a plate of nachos against the wall. That's what happened. That's not what happened. The plate of nachos was still intact. No one had thrown it up against the wall. The nachos were in her pants. And that is what police found, was nachos in her pants.
I'm confused.
What about? I'd like to clarify.
How were the nachos intact in her pants?
Well, the nachos weren't intact. The plate.
Oh,
the
okay.
plate.
The plate was there. The nachos were gone because the nachos were in her pants.
Yeah,
got it.
There was a cheesy plate of some kind on the counter.
Thank you for cleaning that up.
Raised the police's I don't know if she's telling us the truth.
Nachos in the pants. Interesting.
Yep, that's right.
Very, very interesting. All right, Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
We all learned a lot in this segment today. Nebraska softball has won at the Big Ten softball tournament. They are advancing to the semifinals. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
He does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Noon hour, the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. We did receive a email from John.
Hi, John.
Subject line, nachos. Is Josh drunk or possibly having some kind of episode?
Oh, no. I don't like that when I'm not explaining things.
No, you explained it well. I just didn't understand it on a variety of different levels. I'm glad we got the whole wife and wife thing straightened out.
That's right.
That was good. Yeah, I think we got to the end of the line there. Still waiting on the Pope to come out onto that balcony.
Got to reveal himself.
They were we turned up the volume on ABC during the break, and they're like, well, they had a guy reporting on ABC who had went and talked to the Pope's tailor.
The Pope's tailor.
Like not specifically the person, but like the person who's making the Pope robe for the Pope. And all the things that went into this is like this is an absurdly covered thing, right?
We cover it like a queen or a king being named. You know, there's all these traditions you have to go through.
Yeah, it's cool. It's secretive.
And you have to educate the audience on all the traditions.
It's really secretive, and it's really like king, queen. I was going to say president, kind of. There's a lot that goes into that, you know, and the little stuff that goes into that day as well. But I don't know. Yeah, this is still like untouched, and who knows how long this person is going to be in there. It could be decades and decades and decades and decades. And what are they going to be like? And they were saying, well, much will be said about whatever the Pope chooses to say, and the small little things that he does when he goes onto this balcony and waves at the people and announces what his name is and what his chosen name is and things like that. I think if you are not bringing your A team to this event, then as like a television station, then you're missing out on something. Like, I really think I was looking at it. They were showing shots of the crowd. They're always showing shots of the crowd. There's a whole bunch of flags and stuff like that. People are happy and they're celebrating. It really has like a college game day feel to it.
It does.
I think they should put college. I think next time they hear about a conclave, everybody hops on the plane. They go to Vatican City and they set up the Home Depot college game day stage.
Kirk,
and they do
McAfee, Saban.
They do college game day from Pope. Especially it's in the middle of the summer like this.
Do you think there's a single person in this crowd that could kick the field goal? Probably a lot of soccer players in that crowd, actually.
Pat McAfee riling the people up who are waiting outside of the Vatican.
It's about to go down.
Could be funny. Could be funny. That's what Matthew says. Jeremiah says, you're walking a thin line of blasphemy, my friend. I know.
That's right.
I know.
We like the danger.
I know. It's a big story. It's got a lot of different angles to it. What headgear would Corso wear if they were there today?
Great question.
He would get a Pope hat like they did in Beer Fest. Road trip. Euro trip. Sorry.
Yeah.
Euro trip. Amazing Daniel.
Hi,
Does
Amazing
anyone
Daniel.
check the flight tracker? # Pope search. I think they're all in there. I think our next Pope's in there somewhere. We're just waiting for that person to come out. All right, welcome back. We're not going to spend all the time on the Pope, but
we could.
Interesting question from Venmo Chris. Is the new Pope also good friends with Rick Pitino? My dear friend, Pope.
Okay, but
my dear friend, Pope.
Would it shock anyone if Rick Pitino put out a video at like 3:00 today saying like,
I'd like to
I
welcome
put my full
our Pope. Our Pope.
Put my full support behind.
I would not be. He comments on a lot of things that he absolutely doesn't need
With
to
those
comment on.
DirecTV remotes in front of him.
He has so many remotes. So no, I am. I would not be surprised if that happened. All right, let's play a little game of what does Matt Rule know?
What does he know?
What does he know? And what are we talking about?
Probably knows a lot.
If you're watching along with this, we're about to flash up a screenshot from Matt Rule's Instagram story on YouTube. This is from Matt Rule's Instagram story, as it perfectly fits right in the middle of our screen. I know something the rest don't know. My guy at Emmett Johnson, shh emoji and shh emoji. And it's a picture of Matt Rule and Emmett Johnson. What does he know? What is he cooking, Josh?
They keep saying this.
They keep saying this. This is my point of having this conversation.
That's what I thought yesterday when I saw it.
Keep saying this.
I didn't have a second thought. It was my only thought.
It's beginning to bother me how much they keep saying this, because the more that they say it, the more that I think that they actually are, they don't mean that.
That's right. He needs the confidence, so we have to keep saying it publicly that we believe in him.
I can't figure. I've just been tied up in such a knot on this whole running back thing I need to probably just forget about it. I need to spend this summer not thinking about the running back position.
Yes.
I do, because I'm going to stress myself out about it.
You need the College World Series to get
I need the College World Series to get here. I need Creighton baseball to go to a regional or something like that, so I can take my mind off the Nebraska running back situation, because I just keep, every time I think about it, the more I think this has the potential to be the biggest disaster of all time. Not of all time. No, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have that potential. I shouldn't say that. But it has a potential to be a disaster. Hey, what do you think? I mean, are you going to pick up another running back out of the portal? I mean, it seems pretty easy, right? Well, we like Quentin Ives. Love Quentin Ives. We love Emmett Johnson. We love Emmett Johnson. Okay. And then they go after a running back in the transfer portal. He's from Omaha. His name is Charmar. Marty, they call him. And they don't get him. And then,
yeah, but they didn't go after him.
No, I think they kind of did.
Hey, you want to come here? You can come here. I mean, that's fine.
I would relate that more to their style of how they how they try to attract players in the transfer portal. Like, I just don't think they really, like, they're not going to get tied up in these. What Rule says about all that stuff, it's true. They're not going to get tied up in all these bidding wars and stuff like that. But he also says, well, the desperate team sets the market. Nebraska got really involved with this. I think just from, I don't know. I think they did. And I think they tried. And they didn't get him. And then I just think a lot of time has been dedicated to trying to tell people that everything is fine at that position.
It sure seems that way.
I really like Emmett Johnson. I really liked what he did at the end of last year. And I do think that Dana Holgorsen makes a difference. I mean, it was clear. All of a sudden, when Dana Holgorsen shows up in the USC game, Emmett Johnson's touch share goes like dramatically. It's skyrockets. We're talking about, 10, 12, 15 carries on top of 6, 7, 8 catch. Like he's up close to 20 touches a game, which is great. And maybe you think, all right, he's going to be over that next year. Well, great. First of all, that's a lot to put on one guy. Like if they were really approaching it, I don't know. This has just been my thing. I've been really critical about this. I'm sorry. I don't know why I've chosen this thing to be extremely critical about.
Well, it was a point of pride for the program for many, many decades, right?
Yeah. That's a good point.
And now it's sort of an afterthought, much like the running back position in general.
Well, okay. So that's exactly the next thing I wanted to get into. So you hear him talk about how they're going to approach it more like an NFL style, right?
Right.
And, the NFL style would make you believe that's a position that just doesn't have very high value, right? It's a dime a dozen. Okay. If it was a dime a dozen, then you would have a dozen. Nebraska is putting all of Nebraska is approaching it from a roster perspective as an old school, like we think we have, like, you would think that Emmett Johnson was Adrian Peterson by the way that they're approaching
The way
it.
they talk
They
about
have
him, yeah.
no running backs behind him, and behind that guy who we have no trust in because we've never seen, there's definitely no running backs behind that person. And so you would think by the way that they approach it, they have a returning all Big Ten, all American type of running back there that they're going to load up and give 25 carries a game and just let him go, let him tote that thing. That's not at all what I see. And then I hear him talk about the position and the way that they approach it from a monetary standpoint and a roster standpoint. And I get it. And it's all NFL and whatever, but that's not what I see. So I continue to be confused. I'm just confused. And maybe Matt Rule would listen to this and he'd say, I don't get it. I don't know what you're so confused about.
We like our guy.
We like our guy.
We got a quarterback.
And the guy behind him, we like that guy.
We're focused on the quarterback
So there was this conversation. It's popped up at various times. It's really I guess it applies to when Dylan is here too. But we love focusing on the quarterback room. I can't explain why we love focusing on the quarterback room so much. I can't figure that out. I don't know why. Everyone is like, well, Nebraska has a great quarterback room. They have a great situation.
They do?
That doesn't matter. You have one quarterback. You're not playing different quarterbacks throughout a year.
You better not be.
You are playing different running backs. And everyone's like, well, they're really set up for the future. They have Dylon and they have Latif behind, or Marcos Davila, who came in from Purdue. And then
you have
Latif, and then you have Dayton, and then you have Trey whatever, who just committed and made everybody mad because he put on the wrong hat for a little while.
The audacity.
And everyone's like, man, Nebraska's quarterback room is really, really good, and it's going to be good for years to come. Like, first of all, I don't care because you play one quarterback at a time. They would be just as fine going into an offseason without a quarterback than if they would having 6 years worth of quarterbacks back to back lined up, because guess what? The transfer portal does exist. So people look at this and they give kudos to the program and they say, well, Nebraska has a great quarterback room. And because of that, that means they're going to be good or whatever it might mean. And I'm like, well, oh my God, the door's just opened. And I'm like,
here we go.
Well,
oh my gosh.
There he is. There he is. He's got a big, long microphone.
It's like a Bob Barker microphone on steroids. Look at that thing.
He's not doing anything. He just has his hands folded.
Now, this is the Pope.
Has a little bit of a smirk on his face. Yeah, that's the Pope.
This isn't the Cardinal announcing a Pope?
Well, I mean, the Pope was a Cardinal, right? He's like, I would like to say that I am the Pope today.
If someone's holding a book for him, like, hey, read this.
Yeah. Wait, so you don't think that's the Pope?
I think that's just the Cardinal announcing the Pope.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know how
I
this
don't know.
goes.
We got it on mute.
I don't know how this goes. Everybody's got their iPhones out.
Latin for we have a Pope.
Speaking in a global language is the closed caption on this.
Global
All right, so this is the opener.
I think so.
This is the opener. The as Kenneth says, that the headliner comes on later.
Yeah, eventually Metallica will get out there and play Enter Sandman for everybody.
All right, quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks.
So we're talking about quarterbacks, and it's great. I'm glad that they have their next 6 quarterbacks lined up, but God knows that they're not going to end up all being that way. I would be shocked if Trey Taylor ever played a down of football for Nebraska. Not shocked, but I'd be pretty surprised, honestly, because he's a sophomore in high school right now. All right. It's just kind of how the way of the world is, the way it goes. And your quarterback rooms, and you have 3, quarterbacks that you could trust in your room. Well, you need to have a backup because we know how it works. And yet I don't hear that same logic being used with the running back room, which is notoriously and famously a position that you need more of to get through a season. Nebraska's had like 3 or 4 pretty routinely for a long time. Maybe that's in the absence of a real, bell cow at the position, but I don't know.
This is a good take by you.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you.
You're going to need multiple running backs to get through a season.
I have to stop thinking about this. I'm going to drive myself insane.
I would agree. There's a long time before that first game.
I'm going to drive myself insane.
Long way to Arrowhead. Am I right, friend?
Yeah. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. All right, let's go to Pope. What do we have here?
I believe his name is Mock.
Habemus Papum. Latin for we have a Pope.
Now they've hung some new bunting.
The Cardinals are on they've moved to a different balcony, and the main balcony is now unfurled something.
It's a real show.
There's a man who's getting a better view.
I would say don't climb the statues.
No, I would say that those are holy in a way.
Yeah, it feels rude.
Yeah, it does.
Probably some American.
Oh my goodness!
He will be called Pope Leo the 14th.
Wait!
Did that
Did
say
you say he's American?
American Pope?
Where was that on the odds?
Black Cat.
American Pope? Is this true? Pope Leo the 14th?
I need to follow more news outlets,
Hey,
and not the sports outlets.
Can you
Pope Chicago Pope?
Can you pull it up on the tiny TV?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because we got. Let's go out there and see what they're saying. It's a soccer game?
I told you, a lot of soccer fans there.
Whoa!
Nice.
Whoa.
Oh, you ain't going to be able to shut Matt McMaster up.
All right, bring it down. Robert Francis Prevost, alma mater. Are you ready for this?
Oh, no.
Are you ready for this?
Is it Northwestern?
No.
Okay. Big Ten Pope would be awesome.
It's better. Villanova. Villanova.
Oh, Big East Pope.
Big East Pope. Big East
Honk, honk. How many units is that for us?
Big East Pope. Can you believe it? Wow. Big East Pope from Chicago and went to Villanova.
Wow.
And it'll be Pope Leo the 14th. Unbelievable. He was not on my odds board. He was not on my odds board, Josh.
Okay, so
this is an upset. I don't know.
Forgive my ignorance.
The Cardinals must have felt strongly.
What was the name of the Pope that was the favorite?
According to what I have, Pietro Parolin.
Oh, okay. Those are different names.
You got it.
Sorry. At a certain point,
it's not Robert.
At a certain point, all the names sound the same.
Yeah. Wow.
Amazing.
Villanova Pope.
Amazing Daniel. Vatican NIL is ruining the game.
Holy smokes. So yeah, apparently McMaster, we did briefly talk about how the American candidate was from Chicago on a crossover one day.
I have comment from Matt McMaster.
Yeah.
Quote, he may not be Italian, but this Pope def knows a thing or two about an Italian beef.
Wow. Pope from Chicago and graduate of Villanova University. Welcome to the Big East, Pope.
Big East Pope.
Jason and Pender writes in Pope Big East the First. This is amazing. I mean, this is world history.
An American Pope, the very first American Pope.
Wow.
From Chicago, Villanova grad.
Venmo Chris writes in, just like the Knicks, the Catholic Church has selected Villanova.
What's his Pope name? Do we know that yet?
Yeah, Leo the 14th.
That's right, Pope Leo the 14th. I forgot already. I'm sorry.
Leo the 14th.
Pope Leo.
It's already updated on his Wikipedia page.
Leo the Lion.
Leo the 14th. Pope J. Wright. Unbelievable.
Mike on YouTube. I bet the Pope loves the bean.
Probably does. Probably has profound respect for the city of Chicago. This does enhance Matt McMaster's argument about Chicago.
How do you have like the info and what? How old?
I do. He is. Didn't you already say this?
69.
Before?
That's right.
Yeah. We've said all of these things. Yeah, he's
okay.
Robert Francis Prevost, 69 years old, Chicago, Illinois, alma mater, Villanova University.
They're gonna get him at a game this year
at Villanova.
Yeah.
I don't think so, Josh.
Wells Fargo Center?
I don't think.
Hey, the Pope is in attendance tonight.
I don't think so.
That sounds like the plot of a 90s action movie where, hey, the Pope is at a Villanova game and then terrorists take over the Wells Fargo Center.
Has the Pope ever traveled to America during Popehood?
Yes.
Okay.
Pope Francis was in St. Louis not too terribly long ago.
All right, so there is some precedent.
And that's why, and Mayor Gene Stothert said, that's why I was there that time.
Okay, so there is some precedent here. Very interesting.
The Pope goes on tours.
Kenneth writes in,
I need John Fanta's take.
$1 beer night. Oh, and the Pope is here. Whatever. Wow. Black Cat says he wasn't even listed on the odds board. Just saw a guy who cashed a plus 950 on any other Cardinal. Holy smokes. Brandon writes in,
Brandon.
I feel that you missed an opportunity to play the NFL draft chime and declare the pick. Yeah. Okay. We'll get comments from New Pope and see if he is a Cubs or a White Sox fan. And we'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. right, the new pope is about to address the people. Will he do it in English? Here we go. Josh, go ahead and pull it up. Wow. No.
Coward.
Okay. That's all right. That's all right. I thought he was going to say, "Go Bears."
Let's get some runs.
Now, Kenneth Wright said, first words of the American Pope, roll Jays, go baseball.
What if the new Pope was a Jays fan?
So, I mean, I did just see a tweet from one of the Creighton burners that said, I mean, there is a real chance that the Pope knows about Creighton.
Yeah.
And their basketball prowess.
Honk, honk.
I'm just saying, it's a possibility. It's definitely a greater possibility than it has ever been before.
Do you think the Pope knows the crown?
Less of a chance.
Wow.
But more of a chance than there's ever been. More similar to the point about the knowledge of Creighton University's basketball prowess.
First American Pope.
Yeah. I would assume he has an understanding of the landscape in America, maybe sports, maybe. Probably not the crown.
Probably haven't been a lot of sports popes.
What do you think his takes are about expanding the NCAA tournament?
Probably for it because he loves like everyone getting money, right? I don't know why I would say that.
Likes when people are happy, I guess. All right. So unless anything else comes up, we'll probably move along here.
I don't know that that's true. This has never happened in human history. An American Pope.
I don't know what I don't know what else to say about it though. I mean, it's shocking.
I mean, if he starts rattling off takes,
I will remember this day. I will try to remember this day. I've said I've tried to remember things before, but I'll remember this day. We got to live on the air follow who the new Pope was going to be, saw the white smoke, and then only to realize about an hour later that it was the first American Pope. And years and years and years down the line, they'll say, later in our lives, Josh, they'll say, what was it like having an American Pope? And I'll be like, I was on the radio breaking the Pope coverage. It was special.
And
those were special times. Hopefully he ends up being good.
Right.
Hopefully he's not a bust.
As the clock hits 12:30 here, I would just like to remind you that this segment right now, Michael Brunts would be on with us if everything was normal.
Oh my God, you're right.
What a breaking news.
Why is he wherever he is?
Michael Brunts always comes on as news breaks.
Yeah, breaking news.
USC and UCLA to the Big 12. I believe he was on the day the Queen died.
You bet. We have a lot of historical events on this show, and they all seem to happen Thursday lunchtime. And then Michael Brunts comes on the show to immediately react. And we have this, but today we don't have Michael. A real changing of the guard, I guess, if you will.
I love a changing of the guard.
Michael will be back with us next week. Now, I have to remember here, if I told Sam that I'd call him at 12:30 or 1.
Oh, no. It's 12:30 now.
I told him 12:30. So let's call Sam.
I'll call Sam.
Let's call Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. I don't know why I thought that I told him 1 o'clock, but 12:30 was the answer. Let's get to this real quick. ESPN is apparently open to paying the SEC more to add a 9th conference football game to their schedule, according to sources. I, for one, am shocked to hear this. It is maybe the most shocking news of the day, more shocking than the fact that there is an American Pope. We all sort of thought this, right? We thought, well, the SEC, why would the SEC, unless they were compelled to, why would the SEC play a 9th conference game? I'll tell you why, and it's very easy to figure out. Because it makes everyone more money. And then we start to see the gaps and the differences between which conference makes more money, and those figures are starting to come out now. It's like, yeah, the SEC isn't making as much in the Big Ten as the Big Ten. Why? Because they don't have as much inventory. Well, they're going to create that inventory for them, and it shouldn't be very surprising to hear. Sam McKewon joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Sam, good to talk to you. What's going on?
Not much. How are you? Great. It's been great weather this week.
It's been amazing, and it looks like it's going to continue for a while. Are you watching the Pope coverage right now?
I'm not. No, but I do know that it's the first American Pope.
American Pope.
My understanding is a baseball fan. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Like a Cubs guy or a White Sox guy, or
I believe so. Also, I believe a Villanova grad.
Villanova grad. Yes, the Big East Pope.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have. All right, that's good reaction there. All right, so we were just talking about just briefly before you came on here the idea that the SEC is potentially finally going to add that 9th game. Shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody because you, among many others, have seen the payouts that these conferences are getting and noticed that the Big Ten is edging out the SEC a little bit by now. I mean, this was always going to be the way it went, right? That the SEC was eventually going to move to 9.
Eventually, yeah. I think they've done a good job of that. I think one of the challenges they were running into was there's some teams with rivalry games that function like a 10th conference game: Florida State, South Carolina, Clemson, a few others. But they're just going to have to bear that, and maybe they can even it out in the scheduling. Historically, there's probably some games that Florida and South Carolina can play that aren't, let's play Texas and LSU and Alabama. Maybe they can figure that out some way, somehow. But yeah, I think they've been moving toward this probably for a while. And I think what you saw just in terms of competitive nature and competitive quality of football, I just don't think the SEC is where it was 5 years ago. And so maybe you could have made the argument, nothing needs to change. They keep winning national titles. They keep competing really well in the playoff. And I just don't know that I saw that this year. I thought Georgia was moderately competitive, but not great. And Texas obviously made it to the semis, but I wasn't bathed in glory. I think getting there, and at any rate, Texas had been shaped by the Big 12. And so, I think there's probably some soul searching going on in that league as it relates to football. Obviously, they had to do that in basketball, and they figured it out about 5, 6, 7 years ago. And in football, I think they do the same thing, and so I think going to 9 will help. I think probably what kept it from 9 for a while there was some of the old school coaches, but some of those guys are retired.
Where do you think that we'll end up getting the vaunted scheduling alliance between because all this comes down to, okay, how much money are we going to make and how much more can we provide our television partners? At a certain point, it becomes, okay, this is a little cumbersome as far as the schedules are concerned for these teams actually functionally playing these games. Is that still in the future potentially from your viewpoint?
I think if the two leagues broke off and they were their own kind of entity, one, I think you'd see, the SEC add 2 more to get to 18, and then you'd be 36, and then you'd, divide it up into whatever you want to call it, leagues, things like that, in order to make it make sense. But, I don't know. I mean, I think it's possible that you could see that pairing happen. I think it's more likely you're going to see these group of 5 and FCS opponents dot the list of almost all the teams. There's a risk in an Arkansas and a Wisconsin playing each other. And the risk is if you lose it, are you still in the CFP fight? And that's what makes it tough. So I don't know if that's going to come to fruition or not. Everybody's kind of kicked around those ideas. And I think the days of that are kind of coming to a close. There was a heyday, Connor, when it was like these ACC Big 12 Challenge and football or in basketball and the bracket busters in basketball. And I just feel like that time, just like the spring games being super big, have passed. And sometimes we have a hard time saying, okay, that's over. And I think it's kind of over. You know what else I think is almost over is like all of the holiday trips to like for basketball. Like that's almost done now. In the revenue sharing era, you're not going to see teams going en masse all over the place on their own dime. So I think there's just things are changing, and I think that's one of the things that's changing.
Yeah. Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald is with us. Sam, earlier this week we learned that Troy Danon is going to be put on the college football playoff selection committee. I don't like my first reaction was, I mean, especially if we move to a format where there's not going to be a whole lot of wiggle room as far as the teams that make it, as although they make the rankings that are important in the selection. What does it mean for Danon, not just functionally, obviously, and helping select those teams for the college football playoff, but maybe more so what it means as far as how he's looked at by his peers?
Well, it's not just his peers, but he's representing the Big Ten, and I think that's a big deal. So I think that's a big part of this, is that this helps to build relationships and continue relationships between Nebraska and the Big Ten. And you can probably learn some things about how certain people in that room make selections or favor one team over another that's valuable for Nebraska to understand. But I think that Danon already knew a lot of that. So some of what you're getting here is, A, you're getting the chance to eventually be the chair, and it will not surprise me if he's eventually the chair. And B, you're representing the league. And that's, I think that he's a good voice. He's a collegial voice, right? So he's not a stuffed shirt. He can go into a room of coaches and he can talk to people. He's not, he's not overly buttoned up. So, he's a guy that could sit down with Mike Riley, who I think is still on the committee, and, just chop it up. And he can chop it up with another coach who might be on the committee who's different than Mike Riley. So Danon has a skill set, and I think he'll do very good. And it just helps with Nebraska's reputation overall.
I think I've asked you this, or something similar to this before, but we're a year in. We've learned a lot, or more than a year in. We've learned a lot about Troy Danon over that period of time since he's been here. And it feels like every time he talks, people kind of nod their heads at some of the things that he's saying. Not that they necessarily, agree with all the philosophies and stuff like that, but the consensus that I've got from Nebraska fans on Danon is that he does seem to be a pretty dynamic, leader, whether it be for coaches or for student athletes or people inside the athletic department who work under him. Like, I guess what when you think about Danon, what sort of pops off the page in his time here, maybe even compared to some other athletic directors at Nebraska in the past?
Yeah, he's a really good fit for Nebraska because he's collegial, he's relational, he's not a stuffed shirt at all, and I mean that as a compliment. He's not overly officious, but I do think he's got a little bit of type A to him. So this is a guy that's competitive, and he isn't going to necessarily come off as like a Jamie Pollard. Like Jamie Pollard's super competitive and he gets a little whiny. Good AD, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
Danon's not that, but I think he's got a little bit of he can work the behind the scenes, and I think he did a real nice job with the volleyball transition. That could have been handled poorly, and he didn't. He handled it with real tact and just excellence in terms of introducing Danny at the event when they introduced her. I mean, he couldn't have given a better speech. And at the same time understands the realities of where this thing's going. So there's going to be tough moments ahead. When you have to raise a bunch of money and revenue sharing era, ideally you want to make sure that you're raising the money, but at the same time, it's going to have to be tough choices made. And our columnist is talking to him soon. I think you'll see a column this weekend. Just kind of maybe covers some of those topics of like, how do you do this knowing that there's going to be some tough choices ahead on priorities and things like that. You got to protect football. I mean, football is right up there. I think I have a pretty good sense of what football is right now and what it needs to do. I don't know what it's going to do, but I think I have a pretty good sense of that. I am intrigued to see, what men's basketball can become and what it is and what it's not yet. And, where Fred can take it, or if there's a ceiling, like all those things. I'm intrigued by that. And I think that's a secondary conversation underneath this football conversation, where I think everything is pretty clear about what needs to be done and the resources that are available. I thought in Nebraska basketball, although they did get a nice player yesterday, it's just hard for me in this very moment to know exactly if they've got all the resources that they need to get the players they want, because I feel like they kind of got a hodgepodge of guys. Now, doesn't mean they won't end up being a 21-win team. They could be. And they've got some players, but at the same time, it felt like maybe they didn't get their first choice in some of these places. And as I compare and contrast Nebraska and Creighton, felt like Creighton got almost all their first choice.
Well, and theoretically, like it becomes a little bit harder too, right? I mean, you were just sort of, nipping at the top of it there. Like the Big Ten is always been a conference that has been all about, the big picture and this total athletic department thing. And also we're an academic, and all those things. As we move into the revenue sharing, like point blank period, you have to put your resources into football, and you have to be good at football. And that changes. I would imagine that changes the landscape over time pretty dramatically for this conference.
It does. I think that the conference had begun to make that adjustment when Urban Meyer got there, and then Jim Harbaugh, being who he is, adjusted it even further. And of course, what happened in 2023 with Connor Stallions is, wrong, right?
Right.
It's what do you call it? It's wrong. You can look at it through the other side of the lens too, and say this is what Michigan was willing to do to win in football, and that's the kind of stuff they do in the SEC. Now, in the SEC, they think that's a funny story to tell 30 years later. And they, well, do you remember when, and in the Big Ten, it's still scandalous. But the reality is they're not taking that national title away from Michigan. And I think the adjustment began, and then it only got furthered last year with Dan Lanning in Oregon, and, the way he walks around and grins and all that other stuff. Like, you're going to have to be all the way in football. And for what it's worth, under Matt Rule, Nebraska is. I think he does his absolute best to bring, with class, an energy to the thing that and an urgency to the proceedings that, again, he does it in a way that I think is likable, but it's unmistakable. And I do actually think his predecessor struggled with that. Like, I just don't think he ever felt like he could get over the hump and get all the things that he wanted. And Rule has been able to do that in short order. And he is paired with an AD that will do it. No offense to Bill Moose, who I loved as a storyteller, but I think Bill had already accomplished. He had already climbed the mountain in many ways of all the things he had already wanted to do. And Nebraska was sort of a, chart topper. Dannon comes to Nebraska with much to accomplish. And he, so this is his career definition, time, not what he did at Tulane. He knows that. And so, he's as motivated as Matt Rule to get everything over the top in ways that I don't know that Bill Moose, having done as much as he had in his career already, was motivated to do.
Yeah. Fascinating discussion. Sam, appreciate it. I know you got some notes out there right now. Love the one about Joshua Kalu on the dating show. I can't say I'm going to watch, but I'm glad that you brought that to everybody's attention.
We received a press release about it, and Evan was like, should we write about this? I said, that's worth a note. It's a pretty popular show, so I'm sure a lot of people know Joshua Kalu right now and his journey to find true love.
It's awesome. Talk to you later, Sam. Thanks.
All right, take care.
Sam McKewon from the Omaha World Herald. That's right. Former Husker Joshua Kalu is appearing on a new dating show on OWN.
Oprah Winfrey Network.
I believe that's what that stands for, yes. It's called Somebody's Son, and it debuted on April 12th, and the finale will be June 28th. According to its synopsis, the show follows three charming, single, and successful men as they embark on high-stakes searches for true love, looking for lasting partners amongst a group of exceptional single women. The twist, each has a mother or motherly figure living in the house providing counsel throughout the show.
Oh, hello.
In Kalu's case, it is his aunt who is offering guidance. In the first episode of the show, Kalu doesn't initially mention his NFL career to 4 potential partners, noting instead he's an entrepreneur who dabbles in modeling.
Smart.
Which he did. And his aunt, Oma, notes in the episode that she advised Kalu to first determine, know who loves you for who you are.
Great take.
There you go. Go Big Red.
And in other Huskers finding love news.
Yeah. Oh, what do we have now?
Congratulations to Marlon Lucky, who got married on, I believe, Monday.
Whoa. Yes, absolutely. Congratulations to Marlon Lucky. Excellent. Excellent. All right, Josh, let's take a break. We'll be back. We'll round out the hour after this on 1620 The Zone.
Upon further review, the host point is good. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Huzzah! The Renaissance Festival of Nebraska returns for the first 3 weekends in May. Weekend 1, celebrate the joy of spring at our May Day celebration. Dance round the maypole and welcome the realm of renewal. Weekend 2, buckle up your kilt and embrace the spirit of the Emerald Isle during Courts and Clans. Weekend 3, enjoy a world of fantasy, folklore, and fantastical creatures during Legends and Lore. Witness hard-hitting jousts and enjoy a full day of fun and entertainment at the Bellevue Berry Farm. Be part of the realm. Grab your tickets at renfestnebraska.com and join the revelry.
Hey, neighbor. Oh, my gosh. Is your energy bill sky high again, too?
Not anymore. My old windows were so leaky, it was as if I had a window open while my AC was running. So I replaced them with Champion Windows.
Champion Windows? Do you like them?
Like them. I love them. And they're guaranteed for a lifetime. They made the whole process easy. I just went online and booked my free estimate all by myself. And I got a great deal where I could buy 2 replacement windows and get 2 free.
A lifetime guarantee and buy 2 windows and get 2 free? Does that mean if I need 8 windows, I can buy 4 and get 4 free?
Sure does.
What if I buy 6? Do I get 6 free?
Yeah.
Do not miss your chance to win $5,000 with the Mo Money Giveaway. Enter now at 1620thezone.com with Saul's Jewelry and Loan and 1620 The Zone. Once again, $5,000 with the Mo Money Giveaway. 1620thezone.com. Josh.
Connor.
Aren't you ready for the College World Series?
So very ready.
No, I mean, just like, I'm not asking if you're actually ready. I'm just asking if you're excited for it, really. Are you excited for the College World Series?
Yes, I would say in a general sense.
All right. That's good enough. I'll
Yeah,
take it.
It's a lot for us.
I'll take it. It is. But we love it. Those are the days we love. Or at least I guess I'll just speak for myself. Retirement this morning. Stony Brook baseball coach, Coach Sank. His name is Coach Sank, Matt Sank. 35 years at the helm of Stony Brook baseball, and he is wrapping it up. Of course, Stony Brook had one of, if not the most unlikely runs to the College World Series, certainly in the modern era, out of anyone we've ever seen under Coach Sank about, 12 years ago now, 13 years ago now, 2012. I was remembering back to what Stony Brook did to make the College World Series. They were in the
what was the
they were in the Miami regional.
Whoa.
Miami was the top. I don't know what the national seeds were that year. Let me take a look real quick. Miami was obviously the top seed in their regional, in which they hosted. And they beat Miami. They beat the crap out of Miami 10-2 in the first game of the regional. It's like Stony Brook is here. It's time. Then your thought, the dream run is over. They lost to the 2 seed in the regional, who ended up being UCF.
Mm-hmm.
And then Miami got eliminated by Missouri State. They got drilled. So Miami lost 2 games by 8 and by 10 to Stony Brook and Missouri State that year. Eliminated from their own regional, 2-Q in their own regional, losing to the 3 and 4 seed. Ouch. Then Stony Brook comes back and beats Missouri State. Then they beat UCF twice to advance to the Super, where they go down a game to LSU and then win 2 in a row to make the College World Series in 2012. At which point they, I believe they had the first game that year.
I would assume so.
And they had UCLA and got smoked.
Big Ten baseball.
Went into the losers bracket and also proceeded to get smoked by Florida State, the number 2 and the number 3 seeds in the country at that point. But doesn't take away the run for good old Long Island. Shout out to Long Island. That team went 52-13 that year. Stony Brook making the College World Series. Can you believe it? Will we see anything like it ever again?
I mean, I would like to sit here and tell you no, but I mean, I don't know.
See, people always do this, and they're like, well, with this age of college sports, I mean, it will never ever happen again. And admittedly, the field has gotten a lot more southern since 2012.
I mean, Ole Miss was the last team in, right?
But you do so. I bring this up partly because it leads back to the conversation we were just having with Sam. College sports are different now, and they're especially going to be different when the rev sharing thing comes through. Power schools, specifically in the Big Ten and the SEC, are going to be putting 85% of their revenue share budget, 75 at least, into their football program because they have to make that work. It has to work. You have to be good at it, especially if you're in the Big Ten and the SEC. But maybe if you were in the Big 12 or in the ACC, you can, amongst your peers, you're fighting for 2 playoff spots in each of those 2 leagues in football. You are, I don't know, we'll see who drives the bus on those as far as who sort of leads the way. But maybe there's a little bit more freedom to say, no, we want to be this top to bottom. We want to have a really sound athletic department. Obviously, every Big Ten and the SEC school and athletic director will say, we want to have a really sound athletic department too. But the fact of the matter is, a place like Nebraska ain't going to put anything into baseball. I'm sorry. There's going to need to be capital upgrades at some point to the places that they play and their facilities and things like that. And you want to, but I mean, Nebraska, baseball is far down the list. And it's been far down the list since they've joined the Big Ten. But now it gets even more defined because you're going to put 80% of it or whatever it is toward football. I think men's basketball will probably be hurt because of this.
Definitely.
Nebraska's got to take care of football, and they want to maintain being a leader in volleyball. And in order to do that, they're going to put a lot of, if not all of their resources into those sports, and the rest kind of get what they get. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this looks, especially in a sport like baseball that is so at the mercy of what every other sport does. As far as the money is concerned, it'll be interesting to see what that sport looks like in 10, 15 years. Let's take a quick break here. We'll come back. A quick update before we go. Creighton softball has won at the Big East softball tournament. Ella Dalton robbed a home run for the final out of the game at the Big East softball tournament, and Creighton advances even further. They took down, I believe St. John's was the 1 seed in this bracket. How about Creighton softball?
Honk, honk.
Moving on. We'll continue that conversation a little bit after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Softball state, folks. Creighton softball is taking down the top seed in the Big East, St. John's. They advance to, now this is a double elimination situation, but they advance into the winner's bracket game, where if they win that, they immediately go to the finals. I believe that's how this works. It's one of those situations. They'll play tomorrow at noon against the winner of UConn and Providence. Winner of that game goes to the finals. Loser still has a chance to make their way back, but it gets obviously a lot harder, and you have to play a lot in a short period of time. Nebraska softball has already won today at the Big Ten softball tournament in West Lafayette, Indiana, again, well, home of Purdue. They beat Penn State by run rule.
Light
And
work.
will take on the winner of Indiana and UCLA, which will likely be the 2 seed UCLA, tomorrow at 5. Tomorrow at 5 on the BTN.
That's right.
Oh, Mitch and I were talking about this possibility the other day. How about the idea of Nebraska softball ending up being, well, there's a couple different options for this. I think the best one is this. Nebraska softball ends up being a regional host. Still in the possibility they're going to have to win a couple games here, but they're kind of on that line-ish right now.
Okay.
Nebraska softball ends up being a regional host, and they get through that regional only to be paired up with the Norman regional host, which would of course be the Oklahoma Sooners in a super regional, and the Geordie Ball Oklahoma storyline in the super regional would be a juicy. I'd call that juicy, Josh.
I would call that juicy as well.
Juicy
yes.
Josh. That's what they're calling it.
That is what many people call me.
Juicy Josh.
Mm-hmm.
So just put that in your brain going forward. You never know. Debo on YouTube writes in, by the way.
Hi, Debo.
Vatican Square Garden.
That's what they'll call it now.
Apparently, Big East Twitter is very much enjoying today.
Oh, sure, sure.
Pope is a Chicago native whose mother worked at DePaul, and a graduate of Villanova originally. How about that?
Incredible.
How about that? All right, back here for the 1 o'clock hour. Let's talk jobs, Josh.
Jobs.
Yeah, the jobs.
Okay.
The jobs report is out.
We're all about giving people jobs, making jobs. Yeah,
Absolutely. What's a good job? What's a bad job? Who's to know? Well, it's really up to the beholder, right?
Sure.
You know, the job, the person who the job maybe a bad job goes to is like, this is an awesome job. This is my dream job. I love this job. So there's only so much science you can really put behind this idea. But it is list season. And so Andy Staples and Ari Wasserman of On 3 have each ranked their top 10 college football jobs in the NIL era.
Whoa.
College football jobs in the NIL era. What makes a great job? They both agreed to these parameters. Total support from the school in terms of resources and alignment between the athletic department and the president's office. Now, while you're doing this, be thinking about if Nebraska checks these boxes, right?
Okay.
Total support from the school in terms of resources and alignment between the athletic department and president's office. I think yes. I think Nebraska has that at the moment. It doesn't mean they're a top 10 school in that category, but I do think they have that. Bullet point number 2, a passionate and preferably wealthy fan/donor base. I think Nebraska checks that box. Once again, I don't think it's a top 10 deal in terms of that, but I think Nebraska checks that box. A history of success plus a repeatable model of recent success. I think Nebraska's got about half of that bullet.
At least half.
They have half. I don't know that they have found the repeatable model for recent success.
Probably not, but I mean,
still looking.
Success is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Well, not necessarily. That's when it gets pretty black and white, Josh. Are you good or are you not? And another bullet point, proximity to excellent recruits. I think Nebraska falls short in that category. Although their entire state is apparently enrolling in Ames next year, so I don't know. So with that being in mind, here are Andy Staples' top 10 college football jobs. Number 1, and before we comment, I'll read you through the entire list.
Okay.
Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, LSU, Notre Dame, Alabama, Michigan, Clemson, Penn State. Ari Wasserman's top 10. Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas A&M, LSU, Alabama, Michigan, Notre Dame, Oklahoma. If I'm being honest with you, I like Ari's list a little bit more, I think. Because Georgia has even when they haven't been at the top of their game, which they have been now for a little while. I don't know that people were like shouting, "Oh my God, this is like a sleeping giant." You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It was like, well, if they could get it going.
I don't know. People always say this. They use the sleeping giant thing with Nebraska. And there was obviously room for growth, but I think Kirby Smart is kind of taking it to that level. And anyway, so there's a lot of things going on here, and a lot of it is dependent on who your coach is, and we're certainly, our opinions changed based on the recency bias of this entire thing. But the first 3, I'll say this, the first 3 jobs that come to my head as far as jobs, and what I'm thinking about is programs that have generally been recession-proof. There is an extremely high floor for how good your roster is going to be every single year. Doesn't mean you can't be bad compared to your standards. Doesn't mean you can't fire coaches. You're more likely to fire coaches who perform poorly in shorter periods of time. But 3 come to my head right off the bat. Ohio State.
Yep.
Texas.
Yep.
And I would put LSU into this category.
Okay.
I think LSU is LSU might be, right there. I just put them at number 3. Like, I think that's the 3rd best job in the country. Alabama, obviously, is a great job. Georgia is, but once again, if we're trying to separate the best among the best, recession-proof, high floor, high expectations that come along with it, donor base, what your university values, right? Like, we know Ohio State is going to go for broke being successful at football. They will. They hired Urban Meyer. They're morally corrupt. They don't care. They want to be good at football. And guess what? They won national championships. And now they are winning. They are the defending national champion. I think Ohio State has always been the definition of a blue blood to me. I think Texas is right in that same category as far as the support that they get, the resources that they have, the proximity to recruits. It's just you kind of have to make it, not that there's not challenges to making it all work at once. There is. And the pressure is certainly higher. But I would separate those 3 programs. That's just me. So the question here is, all right, if Nebraska's not on the list, how close are they to the list? I'm sure that's what you guys want to know anyway.
Yeah.
By the way, I got an email from Brian. Nebraska softball plays at 4, not 5 tomorrow. Yes, that is correct. 4 Central Time, 5 Eastern Time.
Okay.
I thought I was in New York or something.
Typical New Yorker. Talking down to us plebes in the Midwest.
How far behind the schools that I just mentioned, not just those 3, but everybody in the top 10, the Notre Dames, the Michigans, Penn State's. I mean, even you could even take this scope down to the Big Ten, Josh. So just to make it easier for yourself.
Okay.
If you and I have a little bit of an issue. So if the Big Ten's top tier in terms of jobs is Ohio State and I guess it's Ohio State and then tier break, in my opinion.
I think so.
And then Michigan, Penn State. And then I would do tier break there.
I think
so. And that's where Oregon comes in. Oregon, USC. I think right now it's tough to put UCLA in that category, considering they don't have any money and they're horribly in debt. Yeah. So you can't really do that at the moment. And then maybe there's another break, and that's where the Nebraskas.
Okay, I was going to ask, was Nebraska on the tier with Oregon and USC?
Probably
or was
not.
There another break.
Probably not. There's the Nebraskas and the Wisconsins and the Iowas and the.
Yeah, that probably feels more like their peer group.
That's the way I feel. But at the same time, I do think Nebraska has a better reach, a higher ceiling than Iowa and Wisconsin. Nebraska has, I think the thing that Nebraska has working for it throughout its history, it has thought like a big program. It has thought like a big program. It's a bit of an outlier in terms of how it stands in the rest of the Big Ten. And this whole revenue sharing thing and Ohio State doing what they've done, I mean, it's kind of, I think, big picture, it's sort of emboldened Nebraska to think the Big Ten, as I mentioned to Sam, it's always been an all for one for all. We're going to be a really good athletic department. We want to have good basketball teams, and we just like we want to have good gymnastics teams. We want to be good, except for baseball, I guess. They don't care about that. But in the context of itself, if nobody tries at baseball, then they all can, kind of be the same. The Big Ten has sort of always thought about that. There's a portion of academia to it because one of its top brands has that, Michigan. They value that piece of it. Nebraska has valued football. Nebraska historically has valued football. And it, in a lot of ways, compared to its peers in the Big Ten, it looks very different. It has a very different profile academically, from an enrollment perspective, and from just the things that they value and how their athletic department runs. Nebraska has always been a football-centric place. There's a lot of basketball schools in the Big Ten, Josh, and there's a lot of schools that care about basketball.
Nebraska.
Not Nebraska.
They don't even care about basketball, and they won the crown. Imagine what they could do if they cared.
It's a great point
about basketball.
It's a great point.
Carry on.
So I think, as this revenue share thing comes along, you're going to see programs, you're going to really get to see how much they care about, do we want to have this full, complete athletic department, or do we need desperately, are we thirsty for football success? And I think Nebraska won't hesitate to say, yeah, what's the question? Football. And I don't know how I don't know how a lot of their peers in the conference will handle that. So I do think it has that going for it as far as a football job is concerned.
I would agree with that.
But what does that make it? It still lacks the things it lacks, right? It lacks the proximity to recruits, really, really big time high end donors, things like that. But Nebraska's been able to make it work from a support standpoint for a long time. It's just the question of what direction are they going, and do they have the right people in place? And you can answer that question now, I suppose, if you're thinking about it. Does Nebraska have a direction? Does Nebraska have the right people in place? I think you're making the case that they do. I think they know what they're about. I think they know what they're trying to be about. And I think the athletic director has a really good idea of all that stuff. And he makes it known, He's not out there telling anybody lies about how they're going to invest all this money into baseball and be good at baseball. They're just not. They're not going to do that. So as far from a job standpoint, Nebraska has always sold a version of this is football. This is a football school. This is football. If you want to come here and you want to be really good at football, we have the football stuff for you. We don't have a lot of the bells and the whistles. We don't have the nightlife and the opportunities off the field and this and this and that. But we have a place for you to become good at football. That's great. I'm glad they're selling that. I think it's a great thing. And so that's a direction.
Do you care about football?
Does it
come to Nebraska?
Right. Does it make it a top 10 job? No. But it does give you an advantage over a lot of the people in your territory who have been good at football because they've had really good coaches and not necessarily because they've thrown all this money and all these resources at it. So a lot shakes up and a lot sort of changes, in my opinion, going forward. Let's see. Any comments that came in on the YouTube? Hot Danger. I think Nebraska's higher expectations place them lower than the mid programs. At Iowa, at least you have less pressure. No, but maybe I'm just interpreting the question differently. In my opinion, it's just about like upward mobility. It's just about how high can you go? For programs that are in Nebraska's range or, the Iowa, if we're doing the Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota thing, I just think Nebraska has a higher ceiling. And frankly, I don't think that's all that subjective. I think that's pretty objective.
For what the job can be, if all the elements are right and cooking and humming or whatever you want to call it, Nebraska is the better job of all of those places.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm also here.
Right.
That doesn't mean Wisconsin can't win more games. That doesn't mean Iowa can't beat you on the field every single year. They obviously can.
By a field goal.
Yes. The guy blows kisses around everywhere. We've seen it. Minnesota, haven't beat them in a long time. Like this doesn't it doesn't mean you're better than them. I think in part the expectations are a good thing for Nebraska. They could be a hindrance as well, especially you go through a long period of sustained lack of success, in which Nebraska's in right now.
Could scare off some candidates or recruits or what have you.
Aaron writes in.
Hi, Aaron.
What's crazy is that the Big Ten is in more of a baseball-crazed area of the country and doesn't care about baseball. And the SEC is in a lot of areas that don't care about baseball, but it eats up SEC baseball. Well, that's true too. I mean, I think baseball, that's probably more of a baseball thing where I think we've seen a shift in the sport to athleticism. Right. And that's just, there's just a higher ratio of athletes down there.
Mm-hmm.
That they have these really high trajectories and they found a way to get a lot out of that. So I think that's those probably a couple different things that are working into that equation. John emails in.
Hi, John.
Every Power 5 head football coach job is a good job. Even the lower end spots are going to pay you a few million a year and you will get your buyout even if you're an abject failure. You look at Frost. See, I guess I'm not looking at it like it's more of like a program question, kind of without the recent. You're trying to take the recent history thing out of it. That's more of like maybe I'm just thinking more of it from like a blue blood standpoint, which is the conversation that we've had before.
Well, we're not asking what's a good job or a bad job. We're asking what's a top 10
a better job, right?
The best jobs in the country.
Couple emails from Adam.
Hi, Adam.
I've always equated the term sleeping giant to a school that has the tools to be good, but never has been. Nebraska, Georgia, etc. aren't sleeping giants. They've already climbed the mountaintop. A school like Missouri is a sleeping giant to me. It is in the SEC, has great proximity to resources. Only major school in the state. Has a lot of resources, just never climbed the mountaintop. That's interesting.
I've never thought of it like that.
Yeah. I mean,
it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Missouri baseball has not won a single game in the SEC this year.
Oh,
yeah,
that's bad.
I'm pretty sure that's still the case. If you check out the SEC baseball standings right now,
I'm going there as fast as I can.
That's a once proud baseball program.
0-24.
0-24
conference. 13-35 on the year. They've lost 12 in a row.
Not very good. So another piece to mention, this is so much of it is just, what you've done throughout your history. And maybe you can make the case for a place like Missouri. They just haven't had all of the right things at the right time. Nebraska had all of the right things at the right time a couple different times. Adam follows up. He says, you can win a national championship at Nebraska. I'd argue you can't at Iowa or Wisconsin. Not saying Nebraska will win a national championship, but it can be done, unlike their peer schools. Yeah, I do think that's a separator. If Nebraska sent, look at Penn State right now. I think 5 years ago you would have put Penn State closer, or 5, 7, whatever. You would have put Penn State closer to the Nebraska conversation. But Penn State has now smelled a national championship, right? They can smell it. They are close to it. They've recruited well enough for long enough, and they got sick enough of losing to teams that are just this much better than them. And now look at them. They built themselves a wagon for this upcoming football season. It took another step up, and that's because of the resources. They're building a new. I mean, they're doing, I think, a $700 million upgrade to their stadium. Not that helps you be successful on the football field, but it's an example of the resources that get tossed in when you want to go for it. And if Nebraska ever sniffed it, if Nebraska ever got close again, who knows? They may not. They'll go for it, and they won't hesitate. They will never be satisfied with where they are. That's the difference. That's what makes the expectations a good thing for you. Iowa sniffed it. And was undefeated going into the Big Ten championship game in 2012. Did they advance it going forward? Or in 2015? Did they advance it going forward? No, they've been the same thing ever since. They were conceivably 2 games away from playing for a national championship.
Wow.
Yeah. They didn't get any better, right? It kind of stayed the same. So I think that's a pretty key difference. All right, we'll take your thoughts on the other side. Still a couple things to cover here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. But I do have a reminder for you that we're partnering up with Wellbeing Partners in the Celebrate Your Wellbeing photo contest. Submit a photo on how you focus on your well-being and practice self-care at 1620thezone.com. I can already see the debates raging all summer long. Is it a Big Ten Pope or a Big East Pope? A Pope from Big Ten country.
Yeah.
With Big East ties.
He lived smack dab in the middle of Big Ten country and said no. Big East.
I'd
for
like
me.
to go to the Big East. And then moved away from America entirely shortly after that.
It's interesting, isn't it?
In his journey to papacy.
Papacy?
Yeah.
Pepsi?
There seems to be a sect of the Big Ten country taking ownership of this Big Ten Pope. And there seems to be obviously some Big East honks in there as well, saying this is the Big East Pope. It's possible. I know one thing, it does appear to be Cubs Pope.
Yes.
Cubs fans are very much on the Cubs Pope thing. They will never forget.
Despite living on the south side, this is a Cubs Pope.
Cubs Pope.
They got to get him to sing the seventh inning stretch.
A 1, a 2, a 3. All right. One thing that we forgot to do today, it's canceled the courts. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
The American justice system has gone too far. I hate the way every time there's a court thing and it pertains to sports, I'm like, oh my God, why do we have to do all this? Can we just make decisions? No.
Billable hours, Connor.
So we've been faced with this House settlement, right? Oh, it's going to be done. This is a huge day for college sports. Nope. Judge comes in. She's like, I'll Kobe that thing into the trash can so hard. Then they go back and they get a week and they talk about it again. And now they have to talk about it again in a week and people get to respond to it and all these things. According to a court filing made Wednesday in the House settlement case, schools will be permitted to grandfather in a range of athletes. Number one, those currently on a roster. Number two, those athletes who have already been cut this year. And number three, those high school recruits who enrolled at a school after committing to a roster position only to see it be eliminated. As Yahoo Sports, this is from Ross Dellinger, reported last week, the revision is not mandatory, but it's at the school's discretion, a move that is seen as a compromise for the power leagues to the judge's wishes. Remember, the judge wanted to not eliminate any roster spots under any circumstances. And the lawyers responded with, well, what if we grandfathered it in? Wouldn't that be cool? And basically, in order to compromise, they're saying, why don't we do the grandfathering thing, but let the schools, make up their minds on what they're going to do. So that way, if they don't want to, they don't have to cut anybody.
So everyone can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, it reminds me of COVID in that way.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, who's going to be responsible for enforcing these rules? How about the schools? You guys figure it out yourself.
Ever think of that?
Yeah. We all know that famously worked out very well for everybody.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, the lack of rules during that period of time ended up being a thing that aged incredibly. And
NC State still talks about their national championship in baseball.
Yeah. So going forward, it remains unclear if Judge Claudia Wilkin will accept the changes and approve the House settlement, a landmark agreement that would usher in the industry direct revenue sharing with athletes starting July 1st. It's just the latest chapter in a winding year-long effort to gain approval of the settlement. Wilkin had ordered the parties, the defendants, the NCAA and the power leagues, and the plaintiff attorneys to revise one of the most criticized portions of the settlement agreement, the new roster limits. And that's where we're at right now. And there will be, what are they calling them? Detractors or objectors. And they have a week to respond. And then they have the objectors to that have a couple more days to respond. So maybe we're looking at the end of next week by this point. I don't know. I say it's time to cancel courts. I say we like sports because there is a time limit and there are parameters. Right. Lawyers
Except
and judges.
baseball. Baseball's the exception to the rule.
No, but there's
And
parameters.
even-
If you're winning after 9 innings, you win.
And they've
You
added
can't-
clocks.
You can't lawyer it.
Right.
You can't say no. I lost 8-7 after the 9th inning, but I had the tying run on third base.
I see what you're saying. You can't filibuster and
Not
extend the game.
Not that was a thing that happened this week in a baseball game. Judges and lawyers playing basketball would see a final score of 99-97, and they'd say, you know what? It's too close. Let's continue the basketball game. And I'd say that's stupid.
Last night I would have gone for that.
You're out of time.
No.
It's over. You're out of time. Give me my answers and give them to me now.
I think the Celtics could shoot 47 threes in 5 minutes if given the opportunity. They should be granted the opportunity, because what if they made all 47 of those threes?
Well, you would be a pretty good lawyer, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad idea. Chance writes in.
Hi, Chance.
Couple things. I have an opinion. If Jaskers can like Creighton and Nebraska, then the Pope can be a Big East and a Big Ten Pope. Yesterday, the show was all about how Jaskers had a right to exist. So I'm just saying, if that's the consensus, the Pope can belong to both conferences. I'd say that is, there's no flaw in that logic. There's not that I could see anyway off the top of my head. By the way, the NCAA March Madness account now at March Madness MBB, the one that tweets out all the clips and the highlights and the Andy Katz ratings and stuff like that. They have tweeted out a Pope graphic. There's the Pope Leo the 14th, and then also Jalen Brunson and Ryan Arcidiacono and all of those guys in the graphic as well. And
White Dante?
By their side, it says 1 schools with a national championship and a Pope. That is from the official NCAA. I don't know that we have time to take this call.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah, we do have to take a break and get to the polls. I would like to have that conversation though about Nebraska being a top 10 job. Send me an email or something like that, and then or call tomorrow. We can get your call. Sorry, Jason. We'll be back after this with the polls, and we'll tell you what to watch on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a fabulous driver.
The Connor Happer Show
I'm one of the best friends you could ever have in your life.
on 1620 The Zone.
I hate you.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies.
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
All right. Let's head over to the polls.
What a momentous show it was.
It was put it in the archives, put it in the vault.
Yeah.
We talked about American Big East or Big Ten Pope. Not that there's anything wrong with that. To the poll, one singular poll. Is Q Street a slice of Americana?
I think so.
Sure. Let's go with that. I don't mind that. 55% say yes. That was our one singular poll question today, Josh. We were really popey today.
Oh yeah,
we often say if we don't have any poll questions, we were really sportsy. In this case, we were really popey.
Well, biggest story in the world.
Yep. We are all over it.
Had to bring it up.
What are we watching tonight?
Well, just one NBA playoff game tonight. Warriors-Wolves, 7:30 on TNT. Warriors lead that series 1-0. They are without Steph Curry tonight and for the next week. And if you read it's not a conspiracy theory, but it is interesting that the first ever game for the Golden State Valkyries being in the Warriors arena is going to push the Warriors series later on the calendar. So Steph Curry has more time to get healthy.
Wait, what? The who?
The WNBA, Golden State Valkyries. They're an expansion team. I believe they play their first game next week.
No kidding.
And on the date of Game 6, I believe is their first game, but they can't share the same arena on the same day like that. So the Warriors had to push their game out on the calendar, which gives Steph Curry more time to heal up should it be a long series.
Wow. Does Steph Curry has ownership in this new team?
I would assume so.
Okay. All right.
NHL doubleheader on ESPN. Hurricanes and Capitals at 6 o'clock. Hurricanes lead that series 1-0, and then Oilers Golden Knights in Vegas. Edmonton leads that series 1-0. Rangers Red Sox right now on MLB Network, followed by Tigers Rockies. What a barn burner. Phillies Rays, your free game of the day on MLB TV at 6 o'clock. At that same time on MLB Network, Reds and Braves, followed by Dodgers Diamondbacks out west. Big Ten softball tournament going on all day today on BTN. Nebraska will face the Indiana UCLA winner tomorrow afternoon on BTN. Believe Indiana just took a lead in that game.
Whoa. Upset.
Yeah. And finally tonight on Amazon Prime at 7 o'clock, Connor, reset the timer. It is the Academy of Country Music Awards.
Back to zero.
Blake Shelton, Eric Church, Lainey Wilson, Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn, Chris Stapleton, Clint Black, Kelsey Ballerini, Leanne Rimes, Miranda Lambert, Rascal Flatts, and Winona Judd perform. Reba hosts.
You should make a note of all the people that we mention when we talk about these country music award shows and just see how similar the list is.
This one doesn't have Jelly Roll on it.
When this happens again in 3 weeks, it's going to be the same list.
Same people.
All right. Josh, thank you.
Thank you, Connor.
That is what we're watching tonight, and that is the show. If you miss anything, you can find it all on our website, 1620thezone.com, or subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or rewind on YouTube.
Pod.
It is time for the crossover coming up next.